Days at 11 a.m. helps retirees in or near retirement protect their accounts from market volatility. Mark can help you create lifetime guaranteed inflation-hedged income. Call Mark today at 844-619-SAFE. That's 844-619-7233. And listen this Sunday at 11 a.m. to Retirement and Income Radio.
I'm worried about Mom. She's having a tough time moving around the house.
Oh, I know. She still thinks she can do everything on her own.
Exactly, but I've been over there every day this week, helping her navigate the stairs, cooking meals, reminding her to take her medicine. I'm always nervous when I leave.
You know what? I admire you for taking care of Mom. But your family needs you too. And what if she slips and falls? A friend recommended the caregivers at Senior Helpers of Naperville Southwest. They service Cook, DuPage, Kane, and Will counties. They guarantee compatibility and they'll conduct a free safety assessment of her home. Plus, they'll provide as little or as much care as Mom needs.
Senior Helpers of Naperville Southwest, offering both hourly and live-in care. Schedule a free assessment today by calling 331-281-0728. That's 331-281-0728. Again, that's 331-281-0728. And tell them AM 560 sent you. Senior Helpers of Naperville Southwest. Senior care, only better.
Hi, this is Carl Amari.
I'm Lisa Wolf. Join us every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. for all things entertainment on Hollywood 360.
If you love classic radio shows, The Shadow, Jack Benny, The Lone Ranger, Dragnet, Gunsmoke, and many more, we have them for you on Hollywood 360.
We'll also present trivia contests with prizes, showbiz news, celebrity interviews, games, and movie reviews.
So don't miss Hollywood 360 every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
5:11, let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of Progressive Insurance. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your car, home, motorcycle, commercial, auto, and more. All your protection, one place, Progressive.com. Only one incident, and it's good news. DuSable Lakeshore Drive, that overnight repaving project on the north end on DuSable Lakeshore Drive, has been completed for the night, for the day, and everything is back open. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
A bit of hazy sun, warmer day today. Smoke from distant wildfires giving us that haze. Look for a high of 81. Clear tonight, low 58. Sunny, warm day tomorrow, the high 86. Sunshine Wednesday with a high 88. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Currently 57 degrees at O'Hare. And your next news update is at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
What a waste of time, money, and vacation days. Hi, Amy Jacobson here. And if you've had a bad knee or hip replacement surgery, you know exactly what I'm talking about because sometimes the surgery doesn't even work. But there is an alternative, QC Kinetics. Check it out before you go under the knife. QC Kinetics uses your own body's properties to repair damaged joint tissue due to arthritis or an injury. Folks, it's regenerative medicine. Think about it. If you cut your hand, it eventually heals. But don't take my word for it. Find out for yourself with a free consultation. And what's really cool is the fact that Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, the National Medical Director and former orthopedic surgeon, is located right here in the Chicago area. Call now to end your chronic pain and learn more about QC Kinetics. They have new locations in Gurnee and Crystal Lake. Saturday appointments available. The number to call is 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having an annual deductible of only $240. There are only two good things about aging, wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part, my guidance cost you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side, your own health insurance mentor. See Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 30-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
If you own or run a business and you listen to AM 560, you might not realize that the conservative programming that you enjoy is supported by advertisers. Our loyal listeners love to do business with the advertisers they hear every day on AM 560. Now, it probably won't surprise you that there are some businesses who avoid advertising with us because they don't like what we do here. And that's okay, because our audience wants to support businesses that support what we do and think like we think. We would love to have you join the list of successful companies who are already reaching new, like-minded customers. Most AM 560 advertisers have been here for years for one simple reason: they get results. Join our efforts to make a difference in the lives of our listeners who are passionate about supporting our great family of AM 560 advertisers. To learn more, just visit 560theanswer.com/advertise. That's 560theanswer.com/advertise.
Tune in every Saturday afternoon at 3 for Chicago's Real Money Pros, live on air taking questions from you. Learn estate and tax planning strategies, choosing the right IRA, and the ever-important decision when to take Social Security benefits. When you have retirement in sight, sound decisions are critical. Tune into Chicago's Real Money Pros every Saturday afternoon at 3 right here on AM 560. Advisory services offered through Apollon Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gavalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology, such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930. That's 630-830-4930. Or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. Last week, Kamala Harris met the press for the first time since being anointed her party's nominee. If you can call a gentle 18-minute, heavily edited interview with her running mate actually meeting the press. It's clear why Harris is so reluctant to take questions from the media. She isn't good at thinking on her feet and has a tenuous grasp of policy. She's deeply insecure and lacks self-confidence. But when Harris won't talk to the press, she's not just disrespecting them. She's disrespecting us. Kamala Harris owes Americans a straightforward explanation of her views and why she's changed them. We're entitled to know where she wants to lead our country and why. The press is on Harris's side. She may figure she can get away with hiding. But if she keeps doing it, Americans are right to conclude it's because she's got something to hide. I'm Carol Platt-Liebau.
It's your life, your legacy. Shouldn't it be your choice? For nearly 2 centuries, Catholic Cemetery Chicago has been a haven for families, offering sacred spaces to honor these legacies. Take an active role by pre-planning your final arrangements. Alleviate your loved ones a future financial burden. Lock in today's prices and take advantage of no interest payments and no hidden fees. Visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
Are you a business owner with a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, and a plan for growth, but you just need the right bank? Hi, Mike Gallagher here, letting you know that Signature Bank is all about going the distance for commercial banking customers. It's what Signature Bank does every day. Their team understands that accessibility is key to their culture. In times like these, you want a bank that is there for you to weather the bad times and capitalize on the good. And with Signature Bank by your side, you can't go wrong. It's a true partnership. That's why Signature Bank in Chicago is my bank. That's right, I'm a customer. I believe in what they have to offer, from innovative innovative tech and customized solutions to help your business grow and thrive. Reach out to my friends at Signature Bank. Call 773-467-5630, 773-467-5630, or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. That's signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank makes commercial banking personal. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Quick delivery service. What do you need delivered today?
Hi, I'm trying to work through a last-minute to-do list for my boss. Can you deliver a hard drive to the Loop in Chicago?
We can deliver that today.
Okay, can you deliver 20 boxes to a client in Rockford?
We can deliver that today.
Can you deliver 12 pallets of tile to our customer in Naperville?
We can deliver that today.
Can you deliver a large envelope to Northbrook?
We can deliver that today.
Oh my gosh, I think my water just broke. Can you...
We cannot deliver that.
Quick Delivery Service delivers your package no matter the size. More than just a messenger service, Quick Delivery Service is a messenger and tracking service that can also provide scheduled routes for your daily delivery or your air shipment. Trucks are equipped to handle the load and provide ground-level service for same-day delivery. The Quick Delivery Service team of safe, licensed professionals can provide quick door-to-door service for your special delivery. QuickDelivery.com. That's QuickDelivery.com. We deliver that today. But we don't deliver this.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Well, don't go sending Caleb Williams' jersey to Canton quite yet. Even though the Bears, thanks to their special teams and defense, pulled out a victory yesterday. But, of course, the sports story of the weekend, we have to take judicial notice of it, particularly because both my parents went there and they met there. The Northern Illinois University Huskies taking out Notre Dame in South Bend is unbelievable.
16-14.
28-point dog. And this was Thomas Hammock, who we've had on the show before back when we broadcast NIU games on these airwaves.
We're home of the Huskies for years.
Thomas Hammock, very emotional, understandably so, after the biggest win in NIU history, that's for sure.
I'm so proud of our kids, the coaches, just everybody. They believed. They believed. And we came here and got it done.
You told your guys this week that you didn't need anyone to be a superhero or superhuman. They just needed to be their best. What kind of performances did you see out there?
They listened to what I said. I told them all week, we don't need luck. We just got to be our best. And they was their best today, and we was able to get it done.
Where's this emotion coming from for you?
You know, all these guys that have been with our program, been through the ups and downs, and they continue to fight. You know, it's like they my kids. I'm happy for the adversity to push through. You know, no matter the situation, I just couldn't be more proud. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it's interesting in this era of NIL now, which is where college sports is just professional sports, and it's a huge problem. Nick Saban was probably smart to retire. He saw what was coming, and it's here. The average college quarterback in the SEC will make more than Brock Purdy, the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, who, by the way, has taken them deep in the playoffs, too, because he's in his third year, so he's still on that rookie contract. Brock Purdy's making $985,000 this year, quarterbacking the 49ers in his third year, one of the better teams in the league. The average SEC quarterback this year will make more than $1 million. Wow. And you got to have that standout, that like the number one ranked kid coming out of high school is that Nate Thompson is his name?
From where?
From Fenwick.
From Fenwick?
He's a lineman. He's a defensive tackle, but he's a beast. He's a big guy. I understand. I haven't seen him play, but I understand that he's also like a really good athlete, especially for somebody as big as he is. He plays basketball too. So everybody wanted him. He committed to Michigan. and then he decommitted to Michigan when Auburn came with more money.
Oh.
And that's what's going on right now. So I just say that to then juxtapose it to NIU, which if you watch any of the game, and I saw a little bit of it after golf on Saturday, and you heard Thomas Hammock saying it, that the kids have been there for a while. This is one of the older teams in terms of starting lineup in college football, and that experience showed the poise that showed in that upset victory, the incredible upset victory.
And the best part is Notre Dame has to pay them $1.4 million because that's why, the smaller schools play. The bigger schools get the purse at the door, but it's $1.4 million. And an embarrassment. And because we all know Notre Dame fans are, what's the word? Cocky, obnoxious, a little arrogant. But I think they took a bite of humble pie over the weekend.
Yeah, just like the Hawkeyes did.
Oh, that was awful.
Yeah.
I left at halftime. It was 13-0, as you like to say. And then, they couldn't. It was just they missed a 2-point conversion, so that's what happened there.
Yeah, thanks for
lost to Iowa State.
Thanks for the recap.
But we play Troy next weekend. You know Troy. I don't even know what that school is. So if we don't win that game, then that's going to be, that'll be even more embarrassing.
Oh, thanks for the chalk talk. Okay, great. I got it. By the way, just as a quick aside, I don't want to really go into it, but Roland Fryer, who's the economist at Harvard, had a really good piece in the Journal the other day about the economics of picking, and this is relevant to the Bears, and all NFL teams, the economics of picking quarterbacks over running backs, how the football has moved to obviously to the passing game, but even more so than its initial move away from the run, and the disparity is increasing, and you see the compensation associated with that. It's just really an interesting piece to put. It was very Gary Becker-ish, where he sort of applied economics to everyday life in terms of the economics of building a team in the NFL or now college football, because, I mean, really, what's the difference?
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Don, can you read this email for me?
Of course. Jeez, I wish they could do something for your eyesight.
Ugh, me too. But you heard what they said. There's nothing we can do.
When vision loss can't be corrected with glasses or surgery, and hope seems lost, turn to Spectrios Institute for Low Vision. Spectrios doctors specialize in the treatment of vision loss related to eye diseases, such as macular degeneration, glaucoma, and diabetic retinopathy. There is hope, supported by science with personalized rehabilitation plans, occupational therapies, and access technology at Spectrios. Talk to a patient service manager. They'll walk you through the program. Spectrios takes BCBS and Medicare insurance. They also have grants for qualifying patients and offer a Seeing is Believing children's outreach program. Go to spectrios.org, located in Wheaton in a building that says it all, the House of Hope. That's SPECTRIOS.org. Spectrios Institute, the head, heart, and eyes approach to better vision. Remember to keep Spectrios Institute, a 501c, in your estate or legacy planning.
AM 560, The Answer.
By the way, do you ever watch the Bears pregame, particularly the Lou Canellis one on Fox Chicago?
I used to, but no.
I mean,
I love Lou. I do love Lou.
Okay.
But I'm not a big fan of the show.
I
don't know who they feature now. Who are their former Bears?
So I watched the NIU Notre Dame game for a little bit after golf, and I watched the Lou Canellis pregame. Well, I was forced to. That was on TV at the club prior to golf.
Choice.
And I mean, MSNBC could take a page out of Lou Canellis's book when it comes to homerism. I mean, that is so over the top. It is really astounding to watch. I don't think, maybe I've never watched it. I don't know. And I get it. And sports is not supposed to be taken as seriously as politics. And so I get it. And you're supposed to be a homer.
Home opener, they're excited.
And
probably more
rah-rah.
excited they are normally.
I mean, it is way over the edge. Way over the edge.
What are they doing?
I mean, it's just the effusive, obsequious cheerleading. It's beyond the pale from just about everybody involved in the show. Where you're
excited.
Okay, fine. If that's your cover, I just think you can be a little bit more room temperature about things. I think it would make it maybe more interesting for the fans if you had people offering analysis, things you maybe hadn't thought about because you're not, you're not a general manager, you're not a head football coach, so maybe some insights into the game as opposed to just sort of the Caleb Williams will be a great quarterback or the greatest quarterback of all time kind of things, and all of the rich vicissitudes of the thinking of Caleb Williams and who likes Caleb Williams the most on the team because they made a rookie captain, and this is
and all that fawning over what he did a.
How about the matchup?
2-point conversion pass. That was it.
Are we going to hear anything about the matchup with the Titans? The game they're playing.
Text message, Dan and Amy, great start to the show. Thank God for the Bears defense.
Yes,
we know that. And special teams.
And thank God for the Huskies defense in South Bend, too. How about those NIU Huskies?
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 5:38, it is debate eve, so probably should do a little stop, look, and listen in terms of where the race is. There's new polling out, and there's some new strategy reporting out, too, from the respective camps. We'll tackle that at 5:38.
And later, meet my new friends from Congo. We'll explain, but now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
It's 5:32, 57 degrees. Syrian state media this morning saying the number of people killed in overnight Israeli airstrikes in Syria has risen to 14. 40 are wounded. Manhunt continues today for the suspect in Saturday's shooting along I-75 in rural eastern Kentucky. 5 were seriously injured when a gunman opened fire along a stretch of freeway in Laurel County.
Don't think that you can get in your car and drive up there and let's see what's going on up there, because we don't want you up there. It's dangerous.
Investigators say they recovered a rifle from the woods near the interstate. Laurel County Sheriff John Root.
We're not going to send deputies, troopers, FBI agents, or whatever in walking through the woods because we do know this guy is armed, supposedly armed, and that's why, he could be sitting, and, we're not going to be sitting ducks in the woods.
They also confirmed 32-year-old Joseph Couch is the man they are looking for. Former Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley says while she disagrees with former President Trump's proposal to mandate IVF treatments be paid for by the government or private insurance, she's still backing Trump.
I don't have to like him or agree with him 100% of the time to know that life for Americans would be better under the policies where we have strong immigration, where we have law and order.
In an interview on CBS's Face the Nation, however, Vice President Kamala Harris received the backing of Pennsylvania Democrat Senator John Fetterman, who says he does not believe the debate this week will be definitive.
She's been hunkering down for debate prep, really trying to figure out how she's going to take on former President Donald Trump. She did go out on a walk. She took another break this weekend from that debate prep. When she was asked, "Are you ready for Trump?" she gave a thumbs up. It comes as polls show just how important this debate is going to be. According to the New York Times Siena poll, 28% of likely voters say they feel like they need to learn more about Kamala Harris. Only 9% say they need to know more about Trump.
Fox's Alexa Adams is tracking the Harris campaign this morning. Forecasters expect the heat wave roasting Southern California to stick around throughout today as wildfires burn near Los Angeles. Boeing's largest union has reached a tentative deal on a new contract. The International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, under a 4-year contract, would get raises of 25%. The Bears rally from a 17-3 deficit to beat Tennessee 24-17, in spite of quarterback Caleb Williams only going 14 of 29 for 93 yards.
A few passes that may have been dropped, may have been missed. I think it was just miscues, but speedy game-wise, it didn't. I would say affect or change much.
Bears visit Houston in week 2. There's a reward being offered in the shooting of a grandmother on Chicago's southwest side. Andrea Monique King was sitting inside of her car in late August along Ogden Avenue when she was shot and killed. No arrests have been made. There is new churches offering up to a $5,000 reward. The Cubs avoid being swept by the Yankees with a 2-1 win at Wrigley Field, while the White Sox salvaged their series finale with a 7-2 win over the Red Sox. The news, a service of Dan and Amy 24/7. Around the clock all day, every day. Listen now, Dan and Amy, 247.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Join John Anthony, host of Black and White, for a cruise on Lake Michigan on Saturday, September 21st. Come aboard the luxury yacht Free Spirit for a fun afternoon with fellow AM 560 listeners. Enjoy great food and beverages and be a part of the live broadcast of Black and White with John Anthony. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cruise. That's 560theanswer.com/cruise. Sponsored in part by Opum Tax Advocates and attorney Stephen A. Leahy.
Paid for by government. Did you hear? A secret hoard of 1932 $10 gold Indian coins have been found. These gorgeous 1932 gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling the secret U.S. gold coin discovery a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you can own a piece of the hoard. When you call, you are guaranteed a 1932 dated gold coin featuring Lady Liberty with an Indian war headdress and a majestic eagle. With limited availability, you must call now. These 1932 dated gold coins are still in uncirculated condition with brilliant luster. That is 92 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-973-3097. Call now and you'll receive a free bonus over a $55 value free with every order. Call 1-800-973-3097 now to secure your 1932 $10 gold Indian coins before they sell out. Don't wait. You must act fast. Call now.
Welcome to Face the Music, sponsored by Fox Valley Coins in Naperville. Today's guest, President Ronald Reagan. Sir, would you mind sharing some golden lines from your past debates and presidency?
Before I refuse to take your questions, I have an opening statement. I have left orders to be awakened at any time in case of a national emergency, even if I'm in a cabinet meeting.
Mr. President, should age enter into the debate?
Thomas Jefferson once said, "We should never judge a president by his age, only by his works." Ever since he told me that, I stopped worrying about age.
Thank you, Mr. President. Remember, Face the Music is brought to you by the great Americans at Fox Valley Coins on Route 59 in Naperville, Illinois. They are the leader of buying and selling old coins and paper money, as well as all forms of gold and silver.
Whew, this interview wore me out. It's bedtime for Bonzo.
Face the Music was sponsored by the great Americans of Fox Valley Coins on Route 59 in Naperville. No real or artificial intelligence was used in the making of this ad.
Celebrity voices are impersonated. Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
5:38, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. If you have a Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO or FEP, you could save 90% off on average to get your smile back. Learn more and check if you qualify at almostfreeteeth.com. The Kennedy Building inbound between Lawrence and Montrose. 23 into the Burns Circle interchange. Stevenson in, jamming up already. Ashland into the Dan Ryan. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Hazy sunshine and warmer, high of 81. Currently, partly cloudy and 58. Your next news update is at 6. And Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So tomorrow night is the big debate, perhaps, and probably likely the only debate between Trump and Kamala. And, we've been talking about this since the date was put on the calendar in terms of what Trump should do. I've written commentaries about it over at American Greatness, amgreatness.com. I think you've heard a lot of people say the same thing or versions of what I've said, which is, who talks the least, or the candidate who talks the least on Tuesday night wins the debate.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, or you could text us on that very same line.
But getting deeper into that, the point is that Trump's role should be as the moderator that he won't otherwise have on that stage. Certainly he's not going to get any help from the ABC News selections. So he just needs to be very matter-of-fact in raising Kamala's conflicts, moderating of her position, as flip-flopping is now called by the D.C. press corps. She's moderated her views. Oh, really? Has she changed them?
I mean, come on. There's such flax for her. I can't stand it.
And then everybody said, oh, yeah, well, the positions she's taking now are much more palatable, so now I can support her. I can't believe what she's saying now. In point of fact, the only person who's being honest about Kamala Harris's 180s is, of course, Bernie Sanders.
Right.
Because he's a true dyed-in-the-wool red, and he's happy to defend a government takeover of civil society. I mean, he uses Soviet euphemisms as well, but he is unmistakable in terms of his policy prescriptions. All roads run through the central planners. And this is what he said over the weekend at Meet the Press.
No, I don't think she's abandoning her ideals. I think she's trying to be pragmatic and doing what she thinks is right in order to win the election.
Right. Yeah.
There you go, right between the eyes, folks.
I mean, it's
oh, my God. I mean, he admitted that she's not abandoning her socialist ideals.
My values didn't change. Right. No, we believe you. So this goes to the point, again, of saying he needs, talking about Trump, to just, okay, I understand you were for banning fracking, pretty adamant about it when you ran for president. Now you're not for banning fracking. Just explain this to us, and explain this to us in the context of, for example, the first thing out of the gate with your administration, you and President Biden, remember you guys were together, was to cancel the Keystone Pipeline and otherwise set forth after the oil and gas industry in this country, reducing domestic production. So, I mean, just
all electric by 2035.
Well, in addition, yeah, but so just explain how it happened. I just think I want to know. I think people should know. And you just go down the line with EV mandates, with Medicare for All, which is a euphemism for the government takeover of health insurance formally, as opposed to the informal version that is Obamacare. And just on down the line, 180 after 180, just get her talking, get her off script.
And remind her, too, that she said, inflation, I'm going to tackle that on day one. Remind her that she's the incumbent and that she could already have started doing that. That's what I think that he should start the debate by being gracious and thanking her for coming and speaking to the media and to America, since he's done 42 interviews to her one since she became the de facto nominee. Thank her, and don't say anything like you're stupid, you're dumb, you're not a smart person. Don't do any of that.
Yeah, thanking her, damning her with faint praise. That's going to be a real sincere thank you. Just the whole interview thing, it's so past post. Her views. I just want her to talk about her. Kamala talking about Kamala is the best way to ensure a Trump victory tomorrow night and on November 5th.
Because this is it. And she could still hide from the media and do what Biden did, hiding in the basement. This could be her one and done.
Well, again, as we see in the New York Times Siena poll out over the weekend that shows Trump with a 1 percentage point lead nationally. Don't make too much of it. But obviously it's within the margin of error. All these battleground states are very close. Don't make much of it snapshot in time. But the only thing it shows is directionally the sugar high that Kamala has enjoyed is wearing off. And you can hide, but you can't hide from your last 3 years in the public eye. Actually, your last 4 years in particular, when you include her run for president in 2020. You can't hide that. And so she's dying the death of 1,000 cuts as all of this vault, all these Kamala vault offerings are being disseminated publicly. You can't hide from the distribution of information in the digital age. So, and the Dana Bash interview didn't do her any favors either. So it sort of spoke to what you remember from Kamala Harris now that maybe some of this is wearing off. Some of the media hype about her entrance is wearing off. So I mean, that is not going to, I mean, my point is to say that's not going to work either. If she doesn't do well tomorrow night and then she chooses to hide, all she's going to guarantee is her defeat.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. I also think he should confront her about her dishonesty. I mean, she did lie to the American people about Biden's health. I mean, that's clear. Or do you think he should not even bring that up?
He absolutely should bring it up because her entire candidacy is predicated on a lie. So, but it's not accusation. It's just explanation.
Okay.
Just tell. So you like many were saying that Biden was this picture of health. He was a dynamo. He was probing and exacting. You, even after the debate performance, you were the first one to be out there flacking for him. So when did it become obvious to you that he could no longer be a candidate for president this cycle? Just get her explaining sort of what she knew when she knew it. Also, I think people want to know, there's been reporting on this, that Hillary and Obama or whoever, Democrat Party panjandrums went to Biden and said, you either exit by the stairs, or we're going to throw you out the window via the 25th Amendment. And that we have Kamala who will back that play. Is it true that you were willing to invoke the 25th Amendment in concert with other party leaders, and that was what pushed Joe Biden out of the race? Just explain it to us. I just have a question about it. I don't know what the truth is. That's why you're here, is to tell us what the truth is. I just think be the inquisitor all 90 minutes and stick to some recollection of what you did and what is unfinished business in terms of the basis for a Trump presidency. All very conventional, blocking and tackling. This is, to me, a very simple game plan for President Trump. Now, whether he has the discipline to stay within that game plan as opposed to improvising a little bit. I mean, there'll be probably some moments where a barb or two are launched in each direction, and that's not a big deal. Just in terms of just generally speaking, how you frame the debate and your approach to it, because it's very interesting. There's a piece in New York Magazine about Camp Kamala, and they're ratcheting down their expectations, or this propaganda piece in New York Magazine is attempting to do that. why Kamala isn't preparing to knock out Trump at the debate. And, you've been hearing all this.
Cheats or props or anything.
But dealing with Trump. And so, and you don't have the hot mic where you try and get under his skin and have him be comatus interruptus like he was in 20 with Biden. Well, both of them were. But anyway, it's just interesting to hear sort of the spin coming from these unnamed Democrat strategists that talked to the New Yorker for this piece. It's not the venue for pumping up her partisans or trying to fulfill a liberal fantasy of so aggressively confronting Trump and his own supporters. And so, pushing people that are otherwise leaning towards him to have second thoughts about him. Harris's team believes it needs to be about finding moments to educate and convert the voters on the margins. Because she's not known the way that Donald Trump is known and so forth. That's true. So
she's not letting us know her.
They're taking the approach that that she'll criticize Trump, certainly, but the critiques will be more along policy lines than personal ones. She'll focus on things like abortion and LGBTQ rights and Project 2025. In other words, the boogeymen, and get Trump talking about things that he's less likely to talk about or want to dwell on, like some of these cultural issues. Although Trump doesn't really shy away from those issues like most Republicans, so I'm not sure how well that will work. But that's what Kamala's camp is saying, at least through one of their mouthpieces, New York Magazine.
This is a great text message. Dan, Amy, please help me. Who the blank gets polled? Please explain this. I work with 20-plus union members. A majority are Trump supporters, and we all say the same thing. We've never been polled, nor have we known anyone who has ever been polled. I'm at a loss here.
I don't know. I mean, do the sort of back of the envelope odds. These polls are between 600 and 1,200 people normally, and representative samples of a country of 330 million or in Illinois, a state of 12 million. So the odds that you're going to get surveyed are relatively low, aren't they?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that polling isn't happening, and it doesn't mean that polling doesn't give you a snapshot of the race and some feel for direction. And by the way, there's polling within the polling, too. Trump is not without his problems. Catholic votes. Real Clear Opinion and EWTN did a poll on Catholic voters in this country.
Oh, boy.
Kamala leads 50-43. Trump gets 52% of white Catholics, but minorities of Latino, Black, Asian Catholics. 56-37, Kamala leads among female Catholics.
Oh, my God.
So it's...
And you call yourself Catholics.
Well, I mean, it's an issue. And you also have our friend Al Mohler, Southern Baptist leader, Albert Mohler, who I think most people know, but if you don't, I mean, he's a seminal figure in conservative Christian circles. In an interview with the New York Times podcast, Mohler said that, quote, Trump is basically daring the pro-life movement to turn on him when he boasted his administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights, mandating IVF, these sorts of things. Now, I'm not in the Lila Rose camp of suggesting that you wouldn't vote for Trump over his undisciplined rhetoric. Because he has a record, and that record includes the names Gorsuch, Barrett, and Kavanaugh, and that record includes, by way of those names, the Dobbs decision. So I think we're a long way from that happening. But when you have some people doing it and squawking about it. I mean, again, you're talking about a race I don't think will stay this close, but it is this close right now. And if it stays as close as it is in battleground states, then, every little angle in is something to examine, see where the opportunities and the threats are, a little SWOT analysis. Steve and Roselle, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. I appreciate it. You're saying give Kamala the ball and watch her fumble, but I think Trump also needs to provide some sort of economic vision, and his expiring tax cuts would be the one.
Yeah, I mean,
good point.
He did in that economic club speech he gave, and I think you just need to sort of big picture it and compare and contrast that with Kamala, who wants to raise taxes on capital gains, raise corporate income taxes. The incredible one is to tax unrealized capital gains, and I may, if I was Trump, I may just focus on that because it is so far afield and would be so destructive, and just do a little bit of riff on that to sort of brand her as the cipher for, Comrade Bernie and the other Reds in this new Bolshevik movement. So, yeah, I'm not saying Trump doesn't say anything about his record or what he plans to do. I'm just saying that he uses that as the foundation to then ask a question. Now, while we're on the topic, after I've provided what I did as president and what I plan to do again as president, I got a question for Kamala. And she can choose to answer or not, but since the moderators won't ask it, I'm going to ask it. And here it is. And, again, pick a topic, any topic. There are so many to choose from. Marty, Naperville.
Good morning, Dan. Two things. One, the point you just made about that, they're going to dummy his mic down. They're going to shut his mic off if he goes off there.
No, he gets
But
time.
another thing.
He gets his time. He gets his time.
Okay. Another thing, during the Bears game yesterday, if you notice the Kamala, or whatever her name is, commercial, let's forget about politics of the past and look to the future. And that's what I think the angle is going to be tomorrow. In other words, the politics of the last 3.5 years. Let's forget about the politics of the past and look to the future. That's what I think it's going to be all about tomorrow. And you will get a couple of, I'm speaking, sir. I'm speaking, even though we won't know he's talking. He'll hear her up. She'll hear him up on that stage.
Excellent.
And that's the angle. They're looking for that moment that I'm speaking, sir. That's what they're looking for.
Thanks for the comment. Yeah,
Where he's disrespectful to a woman. How could he? She's a woman.
Yeah, we played the clip from 2020 of her doing that to Pence.
Yeah.
They want that moment. I don't know if they'll get it. But regardless, you're right. It is going to be the new way forward. And this is very much like hope and change. Change is value neutral. It can be good change, can be bad change. A new way forward is also value neutral. It's intended to be that way. It's intended to be a Rorschach. Whatever you think the new way forward should be, that's my new way forward. Because new way forward could also be to go the new way forward right over a cliff. But of course, that's not the connotation. And so that you're going to have all this sort of appeal to turning the page generationally, culturally, and I'm the entree. I'm the vessel to that better tomorrow without any real definition of it.
Well, I think what Trump should do is she says something that he doesn't understand. Treat her as he did Biden, saying, I don't understand what she said, and I don't know if she understands what she just said.
Yeah, I don't think you need to sell past the close. If it's clear that she is babbling incoherently, as she is wont to do, then it will be clear to those watching.
Okay.
Jim in LaGrange.
Hey, good morning. So a couple things. One is I already hear the Democrat mouthpieces kind of lowering the expectations for Kamala for the debate. So that puts her in a kind of quasi-semi-win-win situation. And the other thing is, and what frustrates me the most about debates and listening to her, is that she never answers a question directly. And I think we're going to get that all night long tomorrow night. If they're prepping her for anything, they're prepping for her to teach her how to dodge and do an Ali rope-a-dope on questions coming in.
Thanks for the call, Jim. Yeah, that's a good point.
David Muir and what's her name? Oh my God, I haven't even met her.
Kinsey Jones or something. Lindsey Jones.
Lindsey, no. Oh my God.
Whatever. She was at the DNC. It's a good point about Tate. Thank you for the question. Now I'm going to riff on another topic. Well, that's again where Trump can be the inquisitor. I really think it's. Here, let me give you my position on this, and I really think it's important, whatever that word salad was we just heard from Kamala, that she go back and answer this question. We want to know, what is your view on X, and how is it that you came to completely change it from what it was in 2020 when you were running for president? I think you just go back and put it back on her to have to do the job of the moderators. I think that Trump has to have in his mind, I'm the moderator, and he who talks less wins least. He who talks the least wins the debate.
Lindsay Davis, by the way. That's
Lindsay
her.
Davis.
Yes.
All right, we'll take more of your calls at 6:06. We'll talk a little bit more about it.
Yep, 312-642-5600. Now let's head into that newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Lane closures on DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Convicted California serial killer is returning to Illinois to face a 1993 murder. An ex-AT&T boss goes on trial tomorrow. Bears beat the Titans. Cubs take down the Yankees.
House Republicans point their fingers at the White House. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Afghanistan was the spark that lit the fuse on the chaos that we're seeing around the world.
Congressman Michael Waltz tells Fox Vice President Harris, now the Democrats' 2024 candidate, shares the blame with President Biden for the 2021 U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan that turned chaotic as the Taliban took back control of the country and included a suicide bombing that killed 13 American troops.
It says Biden administration officials misled and directly lied to Americans during every phase of the process of pulling troops out of Afghanistan.
Fox's Brian Yennis. Both the State Department and House Democrats dismissed the report as partisan politics. Syria is claiming Israeli airstrikes overnight killed at least 14 people there.
2 regional intelligence sources have told Reuters the target was a major military research center for chemical warfare. It's believed a team of Iranian experts were there involved in producing weapons.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. 3 Israelis were shot and killed at a West Bank and Jordan border crossing by gunmen killed by Israeli security forces. They'll soon start day 3 of the manhunt in Kentucky for the highway shooter who fired at cars on I-75, wounding 5 people Saturday.
We do know this guy is armed, supposedly armed, and that's why, he could be sitting, and, we're not going to be sitting ducks.
Laurel County Sheriff John Root, they're searching a wooded area for the suspect, Joseph Couch. Some schools in the area canceled classes. Drama off the field on week 1 of the NFL season. Dolphins receiver Tyreek Hill was stopped by police reportedly for reckless driving outside the stadium and then handcuffed. He was soon released and then scored a touchdown in the game in the Dolphins' 20-17 comeback win over Jacksonville. As for what happened, Hill says,
It wasn't disrespectful, because my mom didn't raise me that way. I'm still trying to figure it out, man.
So our police in Miami, an officer is on administrative leave. America's listening to Fox News.
57 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer, good morning. I'm Mike Scott. The Bears rally from a 17-3 halftime deficit to beat the Tennessee Titans 24-17 in the season opener yesterday at Soldier Field. Chicago's special teams and defense dominate the second half. Jonathan Owens recovered a block kick for a TD, and Tyreek Stevenson recorded a 43-yard pick six.
I think it's sack. The goal is to go out here and hold him to a third and long, get off the field, get the ball back to Caleb. When he pitched it up, he made a mistake, and we just capitalized off it. I'm glad I gave this team the energy we need to finish the game.
Bears visit Houston in week 2. The Bears have been stymied in getting taxpayer funding for a new stadium, but now the CEO says he's open to sharing a facility with other teams in town.
We have a great working relationship with them. We have great respect for the Reinsdorf family, and we're definitely going to work together to see what we can figure out.
Warren telling members of the Economic Club of Chicago he's ready to partner with the White Sox or other teams that are looking for a new stadium, and the Arlington Heights site owned by the team is also seriously being considered. A convicted killer on death row in California back in Illinois, charged in the murder of a Glenview teen in 1993. Michael Gargiulo appeared in court in Skokie on Friday for the murder of Tricia Pacaccio. The 18-year-old was found stabbed several times on the doorstep of her Glenview home in August of 1993. Cubs avoid being swept by the Yankees with a 2-1 win at Wrigley Field. White Sox salvaged their series finale with a 7-2 win over the Red Sox. The news, a service of Blue Stars Security. Support our police and hire the police to personally protect you and your business. Visit online for that free security consultation at BlueStarsSecurityLLC.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
For anyone living with everyday aches and pains, there's a lot of things you can try. Tough it out, bite the bullet, grin and bear it. Or you can try something that has helped so many other people, Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that addresses the inflammation where pain starts. And Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain for a short time. It helps reduce or even eliminate it all day, every day. Wherever you're hurting, your back, neck, joints, or muscles, in about 3 weeks or less, you'll see a difference and rediscover what it's like to feel better and live better. So if everyday pain is affecting your life, don't go with the mind over matter approach. Try Relief Factor instead. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor.
Building owners, property managers, and chief engineers, this one's for you.
Hello, this is Bruce Diedrich with Waukegan Roofing, your professional roofer. Everything starts on top. Your investment, your building, and everything in it is protected by your roof. It needs to be in good shape. That's where we can help. If it needs to be repaired or replaced, or you think it might, call us. Let's find out. Here's the number.
847-623-1625.
At Waukegan Roofing, our employees are union-trained roofing professionals with OSHA safety training certifications and have thorough knowledge and expertise regarding the various roofing systems we sell, maintain, and install. We know commercial roofing systems because that's all we do. Over 110 years of doing commercial roofs. Waukegan Roofing has the slogan,
Roofs you can rely on.
Because you can. Here's the number to call.
847-623-1625.
And get the info at WaukeganRoofing.com. WaukeganRoofing.com.
Biden is dead set to get as much done as possible before leaving office. That should frighten every American. Why? Because nearly $1 trillion of infrastructure and pandemic funds have yet to be spent. When Biden pushes these funds out, we could see another prolonged inflation surge, just like during COVID. And I'm sure you remember the terrible effects that high prices had on most Americans. Hi, Donald Trump Jr. here, letting you know that a surge in prices can be beaten. A gold IRA from Birch Gold Group is the ultimate inflation hedge in uncertain times. To see how to protect your IRA or 401k, get your free info kit on gold by texting the word HEDGE to 989898. Birch Gold makes it seamless to roll over your retirement account while preserving your tax advantage status. Don't wait for Biden's spending spree to tank the dollar further. Protect your financial future now. Text HEDGE to the number 989898 for your free info kit from Birch Gold.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
6:07, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. This update is service of Valdecas Windows. For the discerning homeowner looking for high quality and professional level window replacement service, contact Valdecas Windows, your award-winning Platinum Elite Pella certified contractor. Visit Valdecas.com. Kennedy already 35 minutes O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Accident left shoulder on the inbound Ike between Manheim and Oak Park Avenue. And the Dan Ryan Express lane's already bottled up between Pershing and the Stevenson. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Now your official Chicagoland weather forecast with Steve Williams.
A little bit warmer, some hazy sun today. That's from smoke from distant wildfires. High today 81, clear tonight low 58. Sunny for tomorrow, the high 86. Sunny warmer on Wednesday, the high 88. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
We're looking at 58 at O'Hare, 58 at Midway, 52 in Aurora, and 49 in Morris. Your next news update is at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We were talking end of last hour about tomorrow night's debate, of course, on this debate eve. And the posture Trump can and should take, the posture that Kamala Harris, the strategy she will employ as she preps in Pittsburgh, and it's being leaked purposefully to manage expectations and perhaps to set Trump up for something that they're not going to do. But certainly the suggestion is that it's an opportunity for Kamala Harris to just differentiate himself on the substance. She's going to steer clear of character assaults on Trump because it's sort of built into the price of Trump, and now it's the time to distinguish her as the way forward, the new way forward, and Donald Trump as the battle pass that we can't go back to. We ain't going back.
We're not going back. Well, I want to go back when I had more money in the savings account and less migrants roaming the streets. I'd love to go back to that.
Well, one of the issues for sure will be border security and sanctuary city, county, state designees, as well as, of course, the violent crime associated with inviting millions and millions of people to come to this country mainly on their own terms. I mean, there's some true asylum seekers, of course, but many are phonies and shouldn't be here.
Yeah, and sucking up our resources. Can I tell you this real quick? Just because I was at Iowa, to the Iowa State game, we stayed at this offbeat hotel. The whole third floor was people from the Republic of Congo that our government flew to the United States. They flew into Chicago, and then they took them on a bus to outside of Coralville, Iowa. It's just unbelievable to me that, and they get free everything. Like I'm checking out in the bills, whatever, hundreds of dollars, and they get everything for free for the last 9 months they've been living there.
Well, this
free
is
clothing, 3 meals. I mean, it's just I don't get what the hell is going on around here.
I mean, this is definitely a topic for conversation tomorrow night, and Kamala's going to do I supported the bipartisan border security bill that was endorsed by border agents, and Trump killed it because he didn't want us to do anything on the border before the election. And all this, look. First of all, that's not the case. The people revolted against it, and so Republicans backed off it. That's what actually happened. By the way, some Democrats did too, like Joe Manchin. That's what actually happened, Kamala. And up until that point, before that was even proposed, we had 8 to 10 million people coming into this country. This has been happening for years, predating that proposed legislation. This was happening when your party had control of all 3 chambers. You did nothing. Right. So don't give me this bipartisan bill bull jive, because that's what it is. And let's talk about what is. Let's talk about what is right now as indicative of your new way forward. I mean, this is we're not just talking about Chicago and New York and LA anymore. We're talking about places like Sylacauga, Alabama. We're talking about Springfield, Ohio. Yep. Listen to this this exchange during public comment at Sylacauga, Alabama. And again, it's the issue of Haitian migrants. Now, Haiti, because of the assassinations there and the chaos and the warlordocracy and the cannibalism and all.
Everything you can imagine.
I understand that there are legitimate asylum applicants from Haiti. But there's still a process. And the approach that this administration has taken is just everybody comes in willy-nilly. You get a piece of paper that says you have this appearance date, and then people just move about the country as they see fit. And as you
only 26% show up for their court hearings.
Whatever the number is. And are scooping up all of this taxpayer-funded benefits. Like, for example, New York just launched a pilot program to help migrants transition out of city shelters by giving them $4,000 for permanent housing. So again, these reverse Robin Hood schemes that are so emblematic of the left, where people who are struggling to get by are underwriting people who are here illegally.
Right.
So,
and a lot of them are working too on the side, and we're still giving them every benefit that they need.
So now back to just, this is Sylacauga, Alabama. Public comment, well, until you cross the line.
David Phillips, living on Spore Street, Sylacauga. I have to say the attitude of the council with reference to this is entirely unacceptable. Do we know where the individuals we're discussing are coming from? Where their point of origin is? Because you're treating them like lawful U.S. citizens, which they are not.
Okay, so I'm going to cut it off because we've had 3 people to come up. I'm going to cut it off because we have no reason, again, we have no reason to launch an investigation or to treat people differently because of how they look. There's no reason for it.
Who said that?
Oh my,
Well,
nobody
that's,
said that.
That's just what I'm saying. I just said that. Tiffany just said that.
Okay,
so
I didn't say that.
But I
Yeah.
Talk about yourself in the third person.
Very.
Dalton Mayer-esque.
Yes, very much. It's fascinating. Cenk Uygur, who is Young Turks podcaster, very popular on the left, he tweeted out, local news in Colorado has absolutely confirmed Venezuelan gangs took over apartment buildings in Aurora, including a report by a legal team hired by the property owners. So why are the local authorities ceding U.S. territory to foreign gangs? Why haven't the cops gone in already? This is a leftist talking about these Tren de Aragua gangbangers who took over apartment buildings in Aurora, Colorado. The mayor of Aurora, Colorado, openly critical now of the Biden administration, wanting federal help. Oh, by the way, Aurora, Colorado also providing financing to people in Aurora, Colorado in this country illegally. Because these are all sanctuary jurisdictions or well, at minimum, they're all border towns now. But when you're talking about Sylacauga, Alabama.
Nobody even knows where that is.
Where you're talking about Springfield, Ohio.
I'm done with what I'm seeing. It is so unsafe in my neighborhood anymore. I have the homeless that were trying to camp out, and I have made concessions with them, and I try to help them the best I can to keep them from trying to squat on my property. But it is so unsafe. I have men that cannot speak English in my front yard screaming at me, throwing mattresses in my front yard, throwing trash in my front yard. And I can't. Look at me, I weigh 95 pounds. I couldn't defend myself if I had to. My husband is elderly, and last night, after living in this home for 45 years, he said, Noelle, guess what? It's time to pack up and move. He said, we can't do this anymore. He said, it's killing both of us mentally. I don't understand what you expect of us as citizens. I mean, I understand they're here under temporary protected status and you're protecting them, and I understand that our city services are overwhelmed and understaffed. But who's protecting us? If we're protecting them, who's protecting me? I want out of this town. I am sorry. Please give me a reason to stay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, that breaks your heart, and you want her to stay and fight, but that woman's at her wit's end.
So Springfield, Ohio, the report is as many as 20,000 Haitians dropped into that town of 60,000 people.
Over the last 4 years, and it's a town of 60,000, guys.
So the point is temporary protected status because they're fleeing a country that is, a conflagration.
War zone.
How do 20,000 people from Haiti, even if they have legal status, wind up in one small community in Ohio? So here again, now we run into the incompetence piece of the kakistocracy. These are our lessers in public office at every level. So they're ideologues committed to central planning, and not only do they not have omniscience, they don't have any common sense. How do 20,000 migrants from any particular country wind up in a city of 60,000? Of course, city services are overwhelmed. If the federal government has these policies to provide temporary protected status for people that have legitimate asylum claims, and we want to be a haven for asylum seekers, people seeking political and religious persecution, but we can handle that in a country of 330 million people if it's done sensibly with some forethought. But no, why would we handle those individuals any different than we handle anybody else? We'll just give you a designation and we'll bus you or fly you over here, and then we'll let the locals figure it out.
And people are claiming that ducks And people's pets are disappearing.
So this is in Springfield, Ohio. This is why this is such an important topic tomorrow, because it transcends all demographic categories. It's old and white. It's young and black.
I think it's like kind of odd that like a guy like me has to come out from doing what I do on a daily basis to have fun, because I see what's going on in these streets, and I see you guys just sitting up there in them comfy chairs and suits, and I'm getting out here every day and I'm broadcasting this, and you guys are just sitting up there in suits or something. Like, I really challenge you guys to get out here and do something. These Haitians are running into trash cans. They're running into buildings. They're running into, they flipping cars in the middle of the street. And I don't know how, like, y'all can be comfortable with this. Like, I don't know, like, who's getting paid from it. I honestly feel like someone's getting paid from it in the background. You got a bunch of people on a bus getting dropped off at a gas station to come down here. I know a single mom that FaceTimed me this morning at the welfare office that really need something. And it's nothing but immigrants over there. And I don't even want to seem like I'm coming down on the immigrants, because it's the people that's bringing them down here. Because wherever they're at, that's what they're used to, bro. They're in the park grabbing up ducks by their neck and cutting their head off and walking off with them and eating them. Like, y'all get the Highway State Patrol down here every week, and then y'all get like a task force for the Highway State Patrol, and they look for guns and they look for dope and this and that and the fourth. That same people that y'all got riding up and down Limestone doing U-turns, pulling people over for blinkers and pulling people over for going left to center and a couple miles over, y'all can take them same people, the Highway State Patrol, and you can take them in every single one of their silver Chargers and Dodge Durangos, and y'all can take them to Sunset, and y'all can park them right over there, and y'all can teach people how to drive, since the Highway State Patrol knows so much about traffic laws and know what to do in traffic. They need to, y'all pay them, they can go over there and teach these Haitians how to drive, because it's getting
Yeah. He puts the emphasis squarely where it should be. And this is what Trump should do tomorrow. I don't have anything against people fleeing Haiti. I understand why they would.
Oh, yeah.
I have a problem with people in the federal government, in state government, in city governments like Springfield running interference for these nonsensical policies that are essentially facilitating the destruction of the communities they were elected to represent. That's what I have a problem with. Corey Woodlawn.
Hey, thanks, Dan, for taking a call. Good morning, Amy. I was driving down the Eisenhower Expressway on Austin and the Eisenhower. There's a gang symbol on that concrete wall I have never seen in my life. These people are here. They're here to do us damage. And I don't think that this thing is unintentional. This thing is very intentional. When has the Democrats ever kept us safe? They never kept us safe in Chicago before these people arrived. And now we've got members of other nationalities running around in our streets. This should make every American pissed off.
Is it a Venezuelan gang sign or a Haitian gang sign?
No, this is a symbol. I don't know where this symbol. I have never seen it. And I grew up in almost every bad neighborhood in Chicago, and I have never seen this symbol before in my life. Other taggers give each other respect. These people tagged over everybody's tag and put a gang symbol up I have never seen.
Thanks for the call, Corey. Candace, Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin.
Candace.
Hi, guys. I live up in Wisconsin now, and I just read that Kenosha is going to start this crap. And people, I don't know, I'm really upset about all this because, I hear this, oh, yeah, there's some legit reasons. No. Stay in your own country, make your own country better. I don't think that America is the fleeing place anymore. The country's dead broke. The dollar's going to crap. And now they're just playing chaos and games with us to try to get rid of us. First this, then it's like a death by 1,000 counts, and this is another one of their schemes, And I think also that why do I keep seeing video after video after video of men who have credit cards from the UN and are put up in hotels and are waiting for a phone call? And what is that about? I think something very insidious is happening, and everybody wants to just ignore it and put their head in the sand and act like this is just plain old migration. I don't think it is.
Thanks for the call, Candace. Well, here's one of the things that the left does. They use something that is legitimate to do the illegitimate. So they use the legitimate asylum seekers, people truly fleeing political, religious persecution, as from Haiti. And they say, okay, well, we'll just open the borders and invite everybody in from everywhere at their leisure. So, and then you fall into the trap of saying, just sort of one size fits all. Let's wave it all off, shut down the border. No, I don't think so. I think that we're a nation of immigrants, and that's a good thing. And we want the best and the brightest to come here. And we want to be a haven for people fleeing religious and political persecution, as I said before, whether it's Venezuela or Haiti or anywhere else, just like we were for the former Eastern Bloc countries. Absolutely. So we're going to have sensible policies. There's no jumping the line. There's no coming in illegally, not through a port of entry, and then you just get to roam around the country until we get around to adjudicating your claims. None of that. I mean, this is what Tom Homan, Trump's former Border Patrol guy, says all the time. Like, this is not that complicated. It's not a manpower issue. It's not even a money issue at this point. It's just knowing it's a political will issue. And we're all familiar with political will, the lack of political will to do the right thing. And you're in Illinois. Most of you listening, or from Illinois. So you know what the lack of political will looks like. Oh, yeah. And you know how far you can get with being fake nice and telling beautiful lies. And that's what the left is doing, and some on the right, some Republicans, I wouldn't call them on the right, some Republicans are doing too. You can go a long way, unfortunately, with certain populations being fake nice and telling beautiful lies. And I just think sort of we need to not fall in their trap of going tit for tat on silliness. Let's sort of recalibrate the entire conversation by saying, okay, here's the foundational principle. Here's the policy that flows from those principles. And here's how it would work and did used to work in practice. Oh, and by the way, we've got all these professionals, these actual practitioners on the border that will tell you what is and is not possible. Joe in East Dundee.
Yeah, Amy, duck l'orange and, squirrel tastes like chicken.
Duck l'orange, yeah. I don't know what the preparation is there, but yeah, more like jerk duck.
My whole point is that Camilla's own father won't endorse her because he said that's not the way he raised her. He raised her as a conservative, and that is something I'd like Trump to actually ask her. Why won't your own father support you for president of the United States?
I don't want to ask her that.
Well, who needs your father when you have Dick Cheney?
She's got Dougie, okay? She don't need a man.
Sex kitten.
Did you see him? Yeah, did you see him? They went for a walk yesterday to take a break from debate prep. Do you see how?
No. I'm talking about Jimmy Kimmel introducing him last night or last week on his show as when he came out, and then he shook Jimmy Kimmel's sidekick's hand. Everybody wants to touch the sex kitten.
What?
That's what he said.
That's so gross.
Wait.
The left is perverted, man.
I'm old enough to remember that when you knocked up the babysitter, that was frowned upon.
Yeah, and she was banished from the town and the job she loved in the school that she loved.
Well,
and who did that? Well,
okay, I'm trying to stick on Doug Emhoff here.
Yeah.
Sex kitten? What? I mean, is this a high five? Is that a high five to Doug's first marriage and how it went down? They're
perverted.
Tony and Roselle.
Good morning. Thanks for taking my call. This goes right back to what Rahm Emanuel said. Never let a crisis go to waste politically. And I would add to that, even if you have to manufacture one, which is what they're doing in this country.
Yeah, right. Thanks for the call, Tony. Craig in Mount Greenwood.
Oh, hey, good morning, Dan. Amy, thanks for taking my call. Hey, on the debate issue, I think it's real important that one of the things that Trump accomplishes before he gets done with that is challenge Harris to a second or third debate and just say this real respectfully. Say, listen, the American people deserve to have much more than just this one debate. And there's a lot of issues we've got to cover and put it out there for everyone to hear and challenge her right there and see how she dances her way out of that one.
All right, thanks, Craig. Tom in Blue Island.
Morning, Dan and Amy. There was a great clip by the gentleman about the Haitians that are decapitating ducks. We need more of that, but we need less of what started with the qualifier. I'm not against immigrants. That's where the left wins. All they do is they paint everyone that wants any kind of law and order as anti-immigrant. And until Americans stop doing that, this is going to continue. And Dan, you mentioned the political will. Is there going to be the political will to support these people? I'm a big Trump supporter. I don't even see how that's possible unless you take the quarter of an empty state and these people are all sent there first temporarily until they're deported. And
Thanks for the call, Tom. First of all, it's not a qualifier. It's a statement of position. Here's my view on legal immigration, and here's what's happening. And here's the disconnect between my view and what's happening. I mean, this is how you explain it to somebody like, for example, on a debate stage. Number two, this idea that it's not possible. It's not possible to even if you had the political will to institute a sensible system and to remove people from this country who are here illegally. Of course it's possible. Well, we don't have the wherewithal to do it. No, it's a political will problem, but it's not a feasibility issue. So the way that you do it is one step at a time. The way that you do it is one tranche at a time. This is why I've suggested before on the debate stage tomorrow, Kamala, I'm so glad that you've come around to my position on building a border wall. Speaking of that bipartisan legislation that you supported, that so-called bipartisan legislation, because that included border wall funding. That's great. So join me on another issue. We should immediately deport everyone in this country illegally who has been convicted of an additional crime in addition to being here illegally, which also should be a crime. So do you agree with me as you're sort of evolving on this issue? Do you agree with me that coming into this country illegally is a crime, and that if you commit an additional crime, this is the first group that gets moved out of this country and back to their home countries, right? Can I get you to raise your hand on that one? This is what I mean when I get it back to state your position and get it back to her. It's a twofer. All right, coming up at 6:36, we'll talk about public safety locally here with former Chicago Police Chief Eddie Johnson.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
57 degrees at 6:32. Authorities have recovered a rifle, but are still looking for the suspect in Saturday's highway shootings in Kentucky.
Don't drive up in there looking to see what you can see. Stay home. Stay away from that area.
Investigators have identified 32-year-old Joseph Couch as the person they believed opened fire on a stretch of I-75. Some schools in the area canceled. Tomorrow night marks the first time and possibly the only time Vice President Harris and former President Donald Trump will meet in person. Former President Trump and Harris prepping to square off in their presidential debate on ABC tomorrow night. Trump National Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
He doesn't need traditional debate prep. He's proven to be one of the most effective debaters in modern political history. Just look at how he knocked off Joe Biden out of the race and the CNN debate stage. He is very well read on Kamala Harris's record.
The debate will begin at 8 Eastern Time, or 8 Central Time. The candidates will share a debate stage in Philadelphia. Federal trial gets underway in Memphis today for 3 former Memphis police officers in the 2023 beating death of Tyree Nichols. Potential tropical storm in the Gulf of Mexico is threatening parts of Texas and Louisiana as a Category 1 hurricane by the end of today or early tomorrow. The Bears rally from a 17-3 halftime deficit to beat Tennessee 24-17 in their season opener yesterday at Soldier Field. A reward being offered in the shooting of a grandmother on Chicago's southwest side. Andrea Monique King was in a car at the end of August along West Ogden Avenue when she was shot and killed. No arrests have been made. Local church leaders are offering a $5,000 reward. A man wounded after he was shot by a woman trying to break into her home in Chicago's South Shore neighborhood on Saturday night.
That motherly instincts kicks in as soon as something happens. It's like fight or flight.
The man was taken to the hospital in fair condition. The woman who shot him is a concealed carry license holder, and that investigation continues. And a daughter is demanding answers after her mother was shot and killed while driving down a street in Gary, Indiana. Gary police say their investigation continues into the shooting that happened Friday night. Bears collect that old-school victory while the Cubs just barely avoid being swept out by the Yankees with a 2-1 win at Wrigley Field, the victory to Jameson Taillon. White Sox salvaged their series finale with a 7-2 win over the Red Sox at Fenway. The News is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Overpaying for dental implants is over if you have a Blue Cross, Blue Shield, PPO, or FEP. You could save 90% off on average to get that smile back. Learn more and check if you qualify at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Safety. It's so important at your industrial facility. You need to keep your personnel safe and meet OSHA requirements. One problem with your ladders, platforms, or safety guards, and you could be facing costly fines. Vans Industrial helps you meet OSHA standards to keep your employees safe.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, president of Vans Industrial. As a business owner, I realize the importance of keeping my employees safe, and I'm here to offer my expertise. Vans Industrial is a specialty contractor uniquely equipped to design, fabricate, and install safety equipment, including walkways, handrails, stairways, and machinery guards. Our Vans Industrial team can inspect existing systems, engineer solutions, fabricate quality goods, and install them with trained pros, all making a safer environment for your employees.
Call 833-VANS-IND for a free inspection of your facility. Interested in what else they do? Visit vansindustrial.com. That's VANS Industrial.com. Quality craftsmanship since 1964. At Signature Bank, going the distance for business banking customers is what we do every day. We understand that business owners have a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, a plan for growth, and don't have time to wait for a bank to respond. With Signature Bank, you not only have a banking partner that has roots right here in Chicago, but our decisions are made locally too. Signature Bank knows that when you have a question or problem about your business, you want answers. You need someone who will pick up the phone or respond to your text. You need someone who is always there for you. That's Signature Bank. We are a team that wants to get to know you and your business. Want to be Signature Bank's next success story? Give us a call today at 773-467-5630 or visit us online at signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, this is Carl Amari.
I'm Lisa Wolf. Join us every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. for all things entertainment on Hollywood 360.
If you love classic radio shows, The Shadow, Jack Benny, The Lone Ranger, Dragnet, Gunsmoke, and many more, we have them for you on Hollywood 360.
We'll also present trivia contests with prizes, showbiz news, celebrity interviews, games, and movie reviews.
So don't miss Hollywood 360 every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
If you own or run a business and you listen to AM 560, you might not realize that the conservative programming that you enjoy is supported by advertisers. Our loyal listeners love to do business with the advertisers they hear every day on AM 560. Now, it probably won't surprise you that there are some businesses who avoid advertising with us because they don't like what we do here. And that's okay, because our audience wants to support businesses that support what we do and think like we think. We would love to have you join the list of successful companies who are already reaching new, like-minded customers. Most AM 560 advertisers have been here for years for one simple reason: they get results. Join our efforts to make a difference in the lives of our listeners who are passionate about supporting our great family of AM 560 advertisers. To learn more, just visit 560theanswer.com/advertise. That's 560theanswer.com/advertise.
The biggest faith movie franchise returns to theaters. Pinnacle Peak Productions' God's Not Dead. In God We Trust.
Religion has no place in the public square.
People are looking for more spiritual and moral leadership. A small-town pastor is called upon to save the religious soul of America.
Send the message to Washington. You have the power to change things.
Keep your boy in line. Because like his God, I can give it and I can take it away.
Don't miss God's Not Dead. In God We Trust. In theaters only September 12th.
Bad decisions limit future options. Make enough bad decisions and you'll destroy your life. Listen to The Flot Line with Rick Hughes this Sunday morning at 7. The Flot Line describes a main line of resistance in your soul built on God's Word. Listen this Sunday for inspiration, motivation, education, all without manipulation. That's The Flot Line with Rick Hughes this Sunday morning at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
640. Let's check the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And this update is a service of Lowe's. Lowe's knows it's easier to make the right calls when you have the right team. Download the Lowe's app to get their home improvement playbook in your hands, so you can get their team's expertise anytime. Download the Lowe's app. Find what you need today. Eden's inbound at 30 minutes, all due to a rollover accident. Right lane blocked on the outbound side between Oaken and Dempster. Right now you've got gapers on the inbound side and that elevated travel time. Kennedy inbound 51, O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Eisenhower inbound, an accident being moved to the left shoulder. It's inbound between Manheim and Oak Park Avenue. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Hazy sunshine and warmer, high 81. Clear and 58 overnight. Partly cloudy and 57 right now. Next, news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Concealed carry mom protects herself and her daughter when a guy tries to break into the outside, break in from the outside through the window in South Shore neighborhood.
Into her daughter's bedroom.
She asked that her and her family's identities be concealed, but she basically said, next time you think about coming through somebody's window, you just remember how that bullet felt. That's what the daughter said. The mom said, try not to be out here committing crimes, especially trying to come into somebody's house because you never know what's on the other side of that window. Exactly. Well,
way to go, Mom.
But the larger point is, first of all, the reality that you're going to be responsible for your own safety, whether you want to be or not. Just the reality that is papered over with the beautiful lies the political ruling class in this city tell. We got you. No, they don't. And frankly, they can't. They can't. Not when you have the people in charge that you have advancing the policies they're advancing. So just, one note on this, just one anecdote that actually made it to the press, which is surprising in and of itself. And the other thing is, it would be nice to hear from law enforcement on this. It'd be nice to hear from I don't know, any politician on this. I don't know who's left that's speaking much sense. Maybe
Alderman Lopez.
Yeah, Raymond Lopez. But
he's the only one
or
who'll come on the show.
Napolitano or Sposato. I don't know. Somebody. Taveras. I don't know. It's unfortunate this is the case, but it's that mom took the action she did. She actually warned him. She fired what she thought was a warning shot, but it winged him in the leg. Shoot center mass. You're protecting your family. Eddie Johnson is the former superintendent of the Chicago Police Department. He joins us now. Eddie, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, Dan and Amy, thank you for having me this morning.
So what about that? I mean, I know the police don't always want to weigh in on residents who protect themselves, law-abiding residents who protect themselves from criminals. But, I mean, when you have 2,100 people shot, as is the case so far this year in Chicago, this is certainly part of the conversation about people that are responsible gun owners, licensed gun owners, and they protect themselves, and they send the message, hopefully, that deters some criminals out there, like Mom sent, which is you crawl inside somebody's window, you never know what's on the other side.
That's exactly right. We all have a right to feel protected, be protected, and the law gives us that right. I mean, when you think about the city of Chicago, according to CTD data, from January to August 31st of this year alone, we had 30,000 ShotSpotter alerts. 143 gunshot victims were rendered aid because of the ShotSpotter alert. And trust me when I tell you, that's probably lowballing it. Nearly 30,000 shell casings were recovered, 470 firearms, 451 arrests made. Because of technology like ShotSpotter, you have police getting there 2.5 minutes by average earlier than they would if we had a 911 call, which we don't get a lot of the times. So if you go into somebody's residence and you're met with deadly force, then so be it, because you had no business in there. So I applaud, what happened.
Now, did ShotSpotter, did it go off in this case with the woman protecting her daughter? Is it too early?
Yeah, I think it's too early to say. But a lot of times it won't capture it unless you're close to like an open window or something. But an alert inside of a building is a little difficult at this time.
Well, let's talk about ShotSpotter, because that's scheduled to be mothballed, at least in the city of Chicago here. And where does that stand? And what, if any, sort of internal political pushback is being provided by police?
Well, let's look at it. So it stands to be turned off. I think it's the 22nd of September. So in a couple of weeks. I know I still get around the city on all sides of the city, and I haven't run into one cop that's not a proponent of ShotSpotter. You had Superintendent Snelling actually out there saying that he still is a proponent of ShotSpotter and doesn't want to lose it. And here's the thing. It's frustrating for me, and I'm sure for him as well as the thousands of officers that are out there, because you have a piece of technology that wasn't represented lower crime, but that's a byproduct of it, because it shows the police where to make adjustments in terms of deployment. Now, if we lose it, here's what I can tell you is going to happen. If we lose it, we're going to have a misinformed sense of gunfire in the city is going down, because we know already 70% of gunshots go unreported by citizens for whatever reason that they don't call. So because they don't call, then we're not going to be able to capture that data. Therefore, it's going to seem as though shots being fired in the city is going down. Another potential unintended consequence is because CPD is able to respond so much faster and actually find victims. Remember, the last 2 police officers that were murdered in Chicago, the only reason the police officers even got to them, and tragically not in time, was that there was a ShotSpotter alert. So what's going to happen potentially is, because we don't get to these victims or don't know about them, people could bleed out, and an unintended consequence is the homicide rate will then go up, because we know for a fact that CPD is able to respond to these gunshot victims and either render aid to them first or get them to some place or call fire so that, they can be rendered aid. So those are the potential risks once we lose it.
But the problem is, Superintendent Johnson, the problem is, according to Brandon Johnson, ShotSpotter is racist.
You know what? Listen, it's not ShotSpotter's fault that the majority of gunfire is occurring in black and brown neighborhoods. That's just the reality of where we are right now in this city. And I hope one day we don't need a technology like ShotSpotter or need 13,000 cops. But you can't say it's racist if that's where the gunfire is being perpetrated. That's just how it is in this city. So what I would say is that it's pro black and brown communities because it's helping to keep them safe. And I will say this, and I'll say this until I'm not here anymore. You can't put a price on public safety. And the simple fact of it is, if gunfire is occurring on the south and west side, then we should do everything we can to ensure that those folks not only feel safe, but that they are safe. So, no, it's not a racist technology. Give me a break with that.
Well, how many people has ShotSpotter helped arrest?
Well, according to the data, we know that there's about 450-something or so arrests made because of ShotSpotter alerts. And you listen, when we first initiated ShotSpotter back in 2018, I think it was, in that first 30 days, I'll never forget this. I was stunned because I responded to a gunshot incident in the 7th District. And they got there so quickly that the guy was still shooting when they got there, so they were able to make the arrest. And that continues to occur. But those are things that's difficult to quantify because when crimes don't happen because the police get there so soon, then it's hard to measure the things that you prevent from happening.
One of the things that just strikes me as a grotesque irony in the city of Chicago is that the most violent neighborhood is the mayor's neighborhood. 37 homicides, 134 wounded in the Austin neighborhood so far this year. And so I would just ask you, do the residents of Austin or Inglewood have a point when they say, boy, the mayor's got 100+ cops assigned to his security detail, and it's nice that he's safe. Boy, when the DNC comes to town, they turn the footprint for that convention into East Berlin, and they bring overwhelming force in terms of policing, and the police did a great job, and there were some arrests, but, nobody shot, nobody hurt. Boy, it'd be nice to see that sort of presence directed in my neighborhood that's been turned into a shooting gallery, despite the fact that the mayor lives in it.
Yeah, that's the irony of all this. The area that he lives in, you're absolutely right, Dan. It's very challenging in terms of shots being fired. So it's odd to me that the very people you pledge to protect, you're actually victimizing by taking this technology away. And listen, if we have something else to replace it with, then okay, I'm good with that. But we don't. And if we think that all of a sudden the people that live there are going to start calling in these shots fired calls, that's just not going to happen. So, yeah, if I was a resident over there, I would be very upset, and be wondering why we're going to end a technology that has obviously helped CPD do their jobs better.
Why is Mayor Johnson so stubborn? I mean, I know that this was a campaign promise that he made because of the Adam Toledo shooting, but can anybody get to him?
I have not heard that anybody has. All I can say is, what we've heard him say is that it was a campaign promise, and he thinks that the money can be better spent someplace else. But you can't use that bucket of money for social programs. You can only use it for CPD and OEMC-based activities. So I really don't know. And I wish, I think that people that are against ShotSpotter, I think more than anything, the problem is they're just uneducated about how the technology actually helps assist the police department do their jobs.
What's your sense of the relationship that Superintendent Snelling has with Brandon Johnson?
Well, without any inside knowledge of it, but just from an outsider looking in, when you think back to Rahm Emanuel and I, whenever you would see us out together, we were joking around or, always having conversations, and you just don't see that with the two of them. Now, that could just be personalities, but it doesn't seem to me that they're on the same page because let's face it, Superintendent Snelling was handpicked by the mayor. That's his guy. That's his expert in law enforcement. Superintendent Snelling said he wanted to keep ShotSpotter. However, the mayor is not doing it. So he's not listening to the expert that he hired to keep him properly informed about these situations. So, just looking at it from the outside in, I think it could be better.
Eddie Johnson is former superintendent of the Chicago Police Department. Eddie, thank you as always for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Thank you all, and have a great Monday.
You too. Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. On AM 560, The Answer.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having an annual deductible of only $240. There are only two good things about aging, wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part, my guidance cost you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 30-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
All right, if you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. After 2 excruciatingly painful years, mortgage rates are finally dropping, and your current lender is going to be hounding you to refinance. If your current lender, listen up, is Rocket Mortgage, listen to how they treated Kara in Romeoville. Last July, Rocket charged Kara over $10,000 to refinance, which, according to David, is excessive. This past July, Rocket Mortgage tried charging Kara more than $9,000 to refinance again. Upon her father's recommendation, Kara's contacting David to review Rocket's offer, and David exposed the mortgage game of offering low rates by charging excessive closing costs. Kara canceled her loan with Rocket Mortgage and will be refinancing with Team Hochberg when it's in her, not Rocket Mortgage's, financial best interest. If you want to work with a lender who'll always look out for your financial best interest, call Team Hochberg today. 855-563-2843. Number just rolls off the tongue. Again, 855-563-2843. Or here, we'll make it easier for you. Visit the website, 56david.com. 56david.com. The number again, 855-563-2854. Or visit 56david.com. Lower.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gavalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology, such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930. That's 630-830-4930. Or
find Papa Nicholas Coffee at your local retailer. Taste the difference that 5 generations of expertise brings. Choose Papa Nicholas Coffee because great coffee is our family tradition. Visit online at papanicholas.com. That's papanicholas.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Correction, I misspoke earlier. That standout defensive tackle Fenwick is Nate Marshall. I think I said Nate Thompson.
Okay.
Anyway, say Nate Marshall. Watch for him next year at Auburn, apparently. All right, coming up next hour, we'll talk a little bit more about the debate as well as the latest fabulous tale from Tim Walz, Kamala's running mate.
Ugh. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
A reward offered in the deadly shooting of a grandmother on Chicago's southwest side. An ex-AT&T boss goes on trial tomorrow ahead of the Madigan trial next month. WIND Chicago News Time, 7.
To start day 3 of a manhunt in Kentucky. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
If you're home, keep your doors locked.
Randall Weddle is the mayor of London, the small town south of Lexington, where they're searching for a highway shooter.
While these guys or this person is on the loose, we are asking everybody to be safe.
Some schools canceled classes as police keep looking in the woods near I-75 for Joseph Couch, suspected of shooting at cars Saturday, wounding 5 people.
Deputies say they arrived on scene to find absolute chaos. Cars on both sides of the interstate, some with windows shot out and bullet holes in some of the vehicles. They also believe they found the weapon that was used in the shooting in a wooded area.
Fox's Christina Coleman. House Republicans have a new report critical of the 2021 U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan, alleging the Biden administration lied about the situation that August. Congressman Tim Burchett tells Fox Vice President Harris is culpable.
She can laugh her way through it, and the media can bail her out. The CNNs of the world will bail her out, I'm sure. But the reality is she shares blame in this, and there's blood on their hands.
The withdrawal turned chaotic as the Taliban retook control of Afghanistan. It included a suicide bombing that killed 13 American troops. Democrats dismissed the GOP report as just partisan politics. A wildfire burning out of control east of L.A. near Highland, California. It's torched more than 31 square miles, forcing evacuations, threatening thousands of homes and businesses. There are questions for police in Miami after some NFL drama before the Dolphins game. Star receiver Tyreek Hill was handcuffed and briefly detained outside the stadium, reportedly for reckless driving, but Hill says he doesn't understand what happened and didn't curse at officers or do anything to escalate the situation.
Miami-Dade Police Director responding, quote, "One of the officers involved in the incident has been placed on administrative duties. I'm committed to transparency and accountability." Dolphins defensive lineman Calais Campbell telling reporters after the game he was also put in handcuffs when he was trying to de-escalate the incident.
Fox's Todd Pyro. Hill played in the game and scored a touchdown on the Dolphins' win. America's listening to Fox News.
7:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Trial begins tomorrow for the former AT&T Illinois president, accused of trying to bribe ex-Illinois House Speaker Democrat Michael Madigan. Paul LaSpiazza was indicted in October of 2022. It is the last in a series of trials to play out before Madigan faces his own racketeering trial next month. Bears rally from a 17-3 halftime deficit to beat Tennessee 24-17 in their season opener. The top pick from the 2024 NFL Draft made his debut, Caleb Williams, passing only for 93 yards.
May have been dropped, may have been missed. I think it was just miscues. But speed of game wise, it didn't. I would say affect or change much.
Chicago special teams and defense dominate the second half. Jonathan Owens recovered a block kick for a TD, and Tyreek Stevenson recorded a pick six. A reward being offered in the shooting of a grandmother on Chicago's southwest side. Andrea Monique King was sitting inside of her car August 31st along West Ogden Avenue when she was shot and killed. No arrests have been made. There is a new $5,000 reward seeking information in that case. A man wounded after being shot by a woman trying to break into her home on Chicago's south side. Police say the incident happened Saturday night in the South Shore neighborhood.
That motherly instincts kicks in as soon as something happens. It's like fight or flight.
The man was taken to the hospital in fair condition, and the woman who shot him is a concealed carry license holder.
He was like hanging on her window. So I just told him, I have a gun, I'm going to shoot. And he just didn't stop. So I fired a warning shot. I didn't even know that he got hit.
An investigation is underway. Chicago sports, baseball right now. Cubs avoid being swept with the Yankees. 2-1 win at Wrigley Field for the Northsiders, who are now 5 games back of the final NL wildcard spot. White Sox salvaged their series finale with a 7-2 victory over the Red Sox. Northern Illinois completes one of the biggest upsets in recent NCAA history. Their 16-14 win over number 19 Notre Dame on Saturday. Hard to call the Fighting Illini win over number 20 Kansas an upset. The Illini clearly the better team in a 23-17 win over the Jayhawks. The news service of In Grace with Jim Scudder Jr. now heard Sunday morning at 6:30 on AM 560, The Answer. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
For anyone living with everyday aches and pains, there's a lot of things you can try. You know, tough it out, bite the bullet, grin and bear it. Or you can try something that has helped so many other people, Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that addresses the inflammation where pain starts. And Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain for a short time. It helps reduce or even eliminate it all day, every day. Wherever you're hurting, your back, neck, joints, or muscles, in about 3 weeks or less, you'll see a difference and rediscover what it's like to feel better and live better. So if everyday pain is affecting your life, don't go with the mind over matter approach. Try Relief Factor instead. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor.
What a waste of time, money, and vacation days. Hi, Amy Jacobson here. And if you've had a bad knee or hip replacement surgery, you know exactly what I'm talking about because sometimes the surgery doesn't even work. But there is an alternative, QC Kinetics. Check it out before you go under the knife. QC Kinetics uses your own body's properties to repair damaged joint tissue due to arthritis or an injury. Folks, it's regenerative medicine. Think about it. If you cut your hand, it eventually heals. But don't take my word for it. Find out for yourself with a free consultation. And what's really cool is the fact that Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, the National Medical Director and former orthopedic surgeon, is located right here in the Chicago area. Call now to end your chronic pain and learn more about QC Kinetics. They have new locations in Gurnee and Crystal Lake. Saturday appointments available. The number to call is 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
7:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. The outbound Eden suffering from an earlier rollover accident, jamming up the works between Peterson and Dempster. It's 27 minutes outbound to Lake Cook Road. The Kennedy at an hour 15 from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. 1 hour on the inbound Ike from 390 into the old post office. Stevenson 52 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Watch out on the Tri-State. You're jamming up northbound right at Roosevelt Road. Bad accident on the south side in the intersection of 59th and South Damon Avenue. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
A bit of hazy sun, warmer day today. Smoke from distant wildfires giving us that haze. Look for a high of 81. Clear tonight, low 58. Sunny, warm day tomorrow, the high 86. Sunshine Wednesday with a high 88. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
57 at O'Hare, 57 at Midway. Your next news update is at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Sports and politics and sports and politics and sports and politics and intersection. Arrogance and ignorance, arrogance, ignorance, and arrogance and ignorance. Intersection.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Do we have another Scotty Scheffler incident? A great athlete involved with local police just trying to get to
the game,
his sport of practice. So obviously Scheffler, we know that story outside of in Louisville. The story we're talking about is Tyreek Hill, who's probably the best receiver in the NFL. He plays for the Miami Dolphins, and he was stopped and placed face down on the street outside the stadium. He was stopped for speeding and reckless driving Sunday morning before the Dolphins game. Thankfully, he was. Unlike Scheffler, he went on to have a big game and win.
Right.
And the Dolphins won. But
he wasn't taken in and booked and mugshot and all that stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was speeding and reckless driving, which I
have done before.
Well, yes.
Not me, you.
I've never been accused of reckless driving or ticketed for it. I may have been accused of it, but not by an officer or a court of law. But I assume the reckless driving has to do with the rate of speed and maybe weaving in outside of lanes or whatever. But speeding, reckless driving, and then you have 4 officers and he's handcuffed and he's on the ground. And then, of course, you see people passing by, some who recognize, they got Tyreek.
Right.
Some who recognize him and they shoot it and, video it, and the video goes viral.
One police officer has been placed on leave because of it. But if you watch the video, I mean, looks like they're shoving his face into the ground as if he's resisting arrest. And Tyreek Hill said, I have no idea why they pulled me over. They didn't tell me why they pulled me over.
It wasn't disrespectful, because my mom didn't raise me that way. Didn't cuss. Didn't do none of that. So, like I said, I'm still trying to figure it out, man.
I guess the police officer was put on administrative leave. Were you aware of that? And if
Nah,
so,
I wasn't. That should tell you everything you need to know then. You feel me? It should tell you everything you need to know. So that's all I'm going to say about that situation. I'm just glad that my teammates were there to support me in that situation because I felt alone, and when they showed up, it made me realize that we got a good team this year, dog, for them to put their life on the line. You know what I'm saying? So it was amazing to see, man.
Yeah, defensive tackle Calais Campbell was briefly handcuffed after coming to Tyreek Hill's aid. But first of all, he didn't say he didn't know why he was pulled over. Somebody said. I'm sure he was speeding, and I'm sure he knew he was speeding. That's not the issue. The issue is being handcuffed and put to the ground.
Right. And now police are saying he wasn't arrested, Dan. He was detained and cited before being released.
Yeah, but why was he? Why? What? Again, and we don't know. We don't know the particulars, and of course, the sports press corps, being an extension of the political press corps, didn't get into the particulars. I mean, I take Tyreek at his word that he was respectful and he compliant. So then, how does he end up on the ground? If it's an offense that just involves a ticket, you don't need 4. You don't need a Punch and John from Chips and 2 more guys, and he doesn't need to be put on the ground and handcuffed. And by the way, when he scored that touchdown against the Jags, his celebration dance was putting his arms behind his back like he was handcuffed. So
that was awesome.
Word got around. I mean, I don't know, but it's odd, assuming that the reckless driving just had to do with, how much over the speed limit he was going, which is something I'm familiar with.
But then after they handcuff him, then another officer comes in. I don't know if you saw this different video angle. Then they push him to the ground again for a second time. This does not make sense. because he says he wasn't resisting arrest. He was being respectful. I mean, some people, of course, say because it's a black on white, because he's black, that's why they did what they did. This is on social media.
He also said he didn't want to use the celebrities to get out of the situation. So like Scotty Scheffler, he didn't do the "Do you know who I am?" because I'm sure maybe some of the cops didn't, even though, I don't know. Miami is sort of like Chicago. It's a big town, but it's a small town.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You could also text us on the very same line.
And Tyreek Hill's a big star, too. So, I mean, he's pretty recognizable. As I said, people driving by, they got Tyreek. I mean, normal residents of Miami were aware of who he was, some at least.
But getting him on the ground for speeding is just wild. I mean, how many times have you had speeding tickets? They've never had you even get out of the car, right?
No. I've never, no.
They've never said, "Sir, step out of the vehicle."
No. I don't know. It's an odd thing. I wish people would ask the right questions so we could get to the bottom of this, so it didn't immediately devolve into what you were just describing, which of course it did, because obviously Tyreek Hill is black, and I don't know if all the officers were white, but some of them were, and it's the black, and it probably. Although it's sort of to do the Scotty Scheffler comparison, it did happen to the white guy too.
Right.
So it's not necessarily a black-white thing. Sometimes it's just a judgment call, period, regardless of race. I mean, that's possibility here too. But this is going to spin out of control, and the sports press corps is going to do nothing but fan the flames. I do appreciate how Tyreek Hill has handled it so far, and he's not really taking out after the cops. And you heard him say about the officer that was placed on administrative leave, well, that should tell you everything you need to know. So he obviously feels like it was unnecessary, and maybe it was. I'm certainly open-minded to the idea that it was, but I think he's not Colin Kaepernicking it.
No. There's one person on X who said, "My friend's son filmed that video, sent it to X and to ESPN. Tyreek was doing 125 miles per hour near the stadium, deadly endangering people walking to the game. He ran through a red light, resisting arrest. Good for the Florida police. I'm proud of them.
Well,
no one is above the law."
I think he was in a McLaren, so.
I don't know cars. It's not a minivan. I don't know what it is. But it looked like something from Back to the Future.
He was not driving a minivan. He was not. And
the only ride there is.
And Back to the Future is a DeLorean.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not a McLaren.
A McLaren? How much does a McLaren go for, Dan?
It's expensive, but Tyreek Hill can afford it.
Okay.
125. I mean, that's what I said. As I expected, it was speeding and reckless. But if you're compliant, and maybe he wasn't, this is why you're asking the question. You only got a snippet. You got 45 seconds of the interaction between Tyreek Hill and police, so you don't know everything that happened before. When they first rolled up on him, and going 125, that if that's true, that may trigger more than one officer to engage you to pull you over. I understand that. So open-minded on that topic, but even if you're going 125, if you're pulled over and you comply and there's not obvious signs you're inebriated or something, you're not otherwise being belligerent, then I still don't know why you're on the ground handcuffed behind your back. David Winnetka.
Hey, good morning, guys. So Dan, I'll tell you why. When those things happen, if you've ever watched those things closely, and the person will be compliant at first, they're going along with it, everything's fine. Then all of a sudden they start getting belligerent. Then all of a sudden they start acting crazy. Then all of a sudden, next thing you know, they're dead. And cops are being blamed for killing black people. And that's just not what's going on, man. People have to experience their own, thing to really, truly understand what's going on. It's not about color, it's not about this, not about that. If somebody's driving 125 miles an hour and whatever, you have to assume as a cop, like, hey, wait a second here, this isn't right.
Well, somebody else saying that he was driving 65 and a 60.
65 and a 60.
They would not pull him over for that.
I doubt that. Thanks for the call, David.
And I doubt anyone's going that fast if there's people all around the stadium there.
No, I disagree with what David said, though. You pull him out and you handcuff him and put him on the ground for his own safety. No. And I'm sorry, 100. I know 125 is excessive. I get it. So what's the threshold? Is it going 105? You don't get put on the ground? You don't put somebody on the ground for their own safety just as a sort of a class of people without probable cause that there's some reason to do so. In other words, that he is being non-compliant or belligerent. And we haven't heard that from the police, have we?
No. And then
So, again, I'm not drawing a conclusion, but let's ask the questions and let's be sensible about it, too. Me and Ron are going to have a row. Ron, Southside.
Dan, I've been waiting for this conversation with you.
Ron, I'm telling you, if you're in the left lane doing 55 or 60, or I don't even care how much, and you're pacing people, then we're going to have a problem. We're going to have a drag race to hash it out.
Dan, but that is one thing that I have a problem with. And I remember my wife would say, "You driving too slow?" I said, "Nope." I said, "That says 55." I said, "The other people are driving too fast."
Your wife is right.
Tell you that the longest, but let me tell you,
Mrs. Ron is right. Get out of people's way, Ron.
This is the
Let
last
your wife
thing.
drive, Ron.
So you know what? You right then. We have to get the facts and everything, but because of what happened, this is just my personal feeling, and we all act on our biases. And they said he ran a red light, so you know what? I don't feel any way towards him. I'm indifferent, So next time, slow down. And slow down, Dan.
Well, it's fine.
Pedestrians.
That's where their tickets. They're tickets for the call run.
I just want to know why that second tackle. Like, they tackle him the first time you see that, but then if you watch other videos, then he's pulled over on the sidewalk, and then somebody, they kind of knee him, and he goes down again.
Yeah.
What is going on?
The thing to me is, it's very choppy in terms of the videos that are circulated. So you don't have sort of the full story, and this is why I'm hesitant to. And we're just hearing things. Oh, he ran a red light. I don't know that.
I don't know that either. Some are saying he went 65 and a 30, 125.
I don't know exactly where he was. Was he in downtown Miami?
No. He was in front of the stadium. That's why.
No.
Oh.
The point is, was he on a side street or an expressway?
It looked like a side street to me, or a 4-lane highway right in front of.
Well, that's a
Stadium.
big difference because the speed limits are very different.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
And game day, I don't know if it's the same speed limit. If you have pedestrians walking around trying to get to the game.
Yeah, you know what? He should have pulled a Lance Briggs. He should have just jumped out and went into the forest. He can afford another McLaren.
Remember?
Just run. You know how fast
when he did that, he dumped it on the Edens.
You know how fast Tyreek Hill is? He could have been in stadium dressed by the time the cops caught up with him. Including on their motorcycles.
Somebody texted into our show. He was going 65 and a 30, running.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was running to
exactly.
work.
I was looking. Was there even a car? That's how fast Tyreek Hill is. Ralph and Rantoul.
Good morning. I know when I'm out and about in my McLaren,
yes.
Every street is a highway. Every street. So I'm thinking there's something else going on. I'm waiting for the body cam footage. I'm waiting for the Chris Rock thing where he's got some crazy girlfriend in there. He gets pulled over and he got weed. And then he's down getting beat.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Well, this McLaren's a nice vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little pricey for me, but yeah.
Judge texting in Class A misdemeanor for speeding that much. Yeah, I'm well aware.
Oh, you know.
But the point is that, as I'm sure the judge would attest, when you go to court, then you pay to get out of it because what the courts really want is their cash. They're not, it's. Tyreek Hill is not a menace to society because he was going 120, although maybe in that moment he was, depending on how he's driving. But by the way, again, the magic of these numbers. We just accept sort of government restrictions like these are studied, precise calculations that the central planners came to. Right, which is why we went from 55 to 65 to 75 on the expressways, just willy-nilly. And it's always nice, easy numbers. 30 miles, 35. Why isn't it 37? Why isn't it 68? Because they're so precise. They know just the speed. No, they don't. It's just arbitrary. And frankly, it's a revenue generator. So the idea that somebody doing 45 in the left lane on the Kennedy when it's unpopular, or 294 is a safe driver, and somebody doing 85 in the left lane is not a safe driver. You got it reversed, right? Flow of traffic. So all this arbitrary hand-wringing over speed. Now, of course, I'm an interested party on this because I'm a
you're frequent
profligate speeder. But seriously, give me the science. Give me the reams of studies that this is in this neighborhood 25, but in that neighborhood 30. And this expressway 55, but on this expressway 65, and then that open road 75. Oh, it's so precise. We're skeptical of arbitrary government policy everywhere except the capriciousness of speed limits. That's sacrosanct. That cannot be questioned. Nonsense. Len in Highland Park.
Morning. Walter Payton was legendary for his exploits with his Ferrari on Sheridan Road in Lake Forest. Never got a ticket.
Nor
but
should
Robert
he.
Robert Redford, when he's filming Ordinary People, went to get lunch for my mom's crew at Fort Sheridan, and came back, said he got a ticket. He said the cop pulled him over, and he said, "Do you know who I am?" And the cop said, "Absolutely," and he handed him the ticket.
Those are the good old days in Lake Forest where you gave a communist like Bobby Redford a ticket.
So what does that tell you? Who knows? But the reckless driving on your record, that's like having a DUI. And I can tell you from experience, it's when usually reckless driving is a plead down to get out of your DUI, but when the insurance company sees it, you're screwed.
Well,
thanks, guys.
Thanks for the call, Len. Well, right, but reckless driving, a charge for excessive speeding, gets pled down to a normal speeding ticket, and you got to watch a 2-hour video from 1975 about traffic safety and pay $600 or $800 rather than $150 or $200. I mean, that's how it actually works. And even if Tyreek Hill's insurance rates go up, he can cover it. By the way, I mean, there is other crime going on in the NFL. It's not on the field, not the players. Did you see this? That Kansas City superfan known as Chiefsaholic. Ooh, that's a little close to the line. Sentenced to 17 years in prison, he was found guilty of stealing nearly $850,000 from 11 banks across 7 states.
What?
Yeah. This 30-year-old superfan. Look, he's all dressed up like Bears Man, but the Chiefs version. He's dressed up like a wolf. Interesting. I mean, this is how these superfans have so much time on their hands, apparently.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having an annual deductible of only $240. There are only 2 good things about aging: wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part, my guidance cost you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 30-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
Biden is dead set to get as much done as possible before leaving office. That should frighten every American. Why? Because nearly $1 trillion of infrastructure and pandemic funds have yet to be spent. When Biden pushes these funds out, we could see another prolonged inflation surge, just like during COVID. And I'm sure you remember the terrible effects that high prices had on most Americans. Hi, Donald Trump Jr. here, letting you know that a surge in prices can be beaten. A gold IRA from Birch Gold Group is the ultimate inflation hedge in uncertain times. To see how to protect your IRA or 401k, get your free info kit on gold by texting the word HEDGE to 989898. Birch Gold makes it seamless to roll over your retirement account while preserving your tax advantage status.
Don't wait for Biden's spending spree to tank the dollar further. Protect your financial future now. Text HEDGE to the number 989898 for your free info kit from Birch Gold.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
All right, one of our police officer friends texted in, Dan and Amy, I'm listening to this segment. This Tyreek Hill situation is exactly why I would never want to do this job without a body cam. Miami would be smart to review and release the videos of the interaction and traffic camera footage before the mass media inflames the situation. It's either that or the cop was a Jaguars fan.
Jaguars.
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 Yeah,
right.
Thank you.
That's yeah. I mean, no, I agree with him. I think that's right. I think that's smart. And by the way, Breitbart reporting after he was pulled over, he got into a verbal altercation with police. So to that police
second takedown?
No. To the police officer's point about release the body cam. So you have the whole interaction. Verbal altercation. I don't know what that means. I mean, because Tyreek Hill has also said, I'm respectful, whatever, 10-2, and so maybe he's not being completely forthright. I don't know, but the body cam, I guess, would
tell
help.
the story.
And police should be quick about getting to the bottom of why it escalated to that point. I know when I get pulled over, which is not unusual, it's, do you know why I pulled you over? Because I was speeding.
Because I'm hot. You want my phone number?
Here's my stuff, and I'll just sit here and wait for my ticket. Yeah, that's I think, pretty much the way you do it. It's not that complicated.
Remember that one time? I think you were an hour late to work after you got pulled over. Or maybe a half hour late.
Yeah, well, sometimes it takes time. They wanted to make sure I wasn't an international criminal like a super fan over in Kansas City. Dan Proft here for Low T Center. If you're often feeling tired, lacking motivation and drive, gaining weight, or noticing loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait. Find out. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's just a simple test. And with their on-site lab, you get your results back in about 25 minutes. Low T Center is where I go and have the past several years. Not your typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low testosterone with customized therapy, or TRT, for each patient. The experts at Low T Center have more than a decade of experience helping patients achieve life-changing results, and most health insurance is accepted for treatment. For established patients with stable T levels, they also offer a convenient physician-monitored self-inject treatment plan that ships directly to your home each month without the need to come in for weekly visits. And at Low T Center, you can also get your health evaluated for treatment with prescription GLP-1 weight loss medications. So get back to your best. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll do a little bit of a debate preview and get up to speed on some of the challenges that President Trump may face in a second term, including with respect to draining the swamp. We'll talk to John Hinderaker, president of the Center for the American Experiment and founder of PowerlineBlog.com, 737.
And you're not going to want to miss this at 8:08. Matt Walsh joins us. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
57 degrees, mostly sunny skies at 7:32. Syrian state media saying the number of people killed overnight in Israeli airstrikes, they say, has risen to 14, with more than 40 wounded. A bridge collapse, a bus swept away by flooding as more rain falls on Vietnam following a typhoon. At least 59 in total are dead. Investigators in Kentucky have recovered a rifle believed to be used in Saturday's highway shootings in eastern Kentucky. 5 were hurt when a gunman opened fire along a rural stretch of I-75.
Don't drive up in there looking to see what you can see. Stay home. Stay away from that area.
The manhunt continues for 32-year-old Joseph Couch. The governors of Nevada and California both declaring states of emergency over wildfires. Nevada's Davis Fire continues to burn south of Reno, while the Line Fire in California has burned about 18,000 acres in San Bernardino County. Trial begins tomorrow for the former AT&T Illinois president, accused of trying to bribe ex-Illinois House Speaker Democrat Michael Madigan. Paul LaSpiazza was indicted in October of 2022. It is the last in a series of trials to play out before Madigan faces his own racketeering trial next month. Bears rally from a 17-3 halftime deficit to beat Tennessee 24-17 on the strength of a Tyreek Stevenson pick six.
I think a sack, the goal is to go out here and hold him to a third and long, get off the field, get the ball back to Caleb. When he pitched it up, he made a mistake, and we just capitalized off it. I'm glad I gave this team the energy we need to finish the game.
The Bears visiting Houston in Week 2. Meantime, the Bears have been stymied in getting taxpayer funds for a new stadium, but now the CEO says he's open to sharing a facility with other teams in town. Kevin Warren, before the Economic Club of Chicago, says he may be ready to partner with the White Sox.
We have a great working relationship with them. We have great respect for the Reinsdorf family, and we're definitely going to work together to see what we can figure out.
Warren also adds Arlington Heights is still key as a site for a new stadium. Saturday night alone in Chicago, at least 7 were shot, 2 fatally, in 6 incidents around the city. Police say they have no one in custody for any of the shootings as of early on Sunday morning. All told, whole weekend, 22 were shot and 3 were killed. Bears collect an old school win, while the Cubs avoid the sweep with an old school 2-1 win at Wrigley Field. Jameson Taillon throwing 6 innings of work, while the White Sox salvaged their series finale with a 7-2 win over the Red Sox at Fenway. The news is a service of Remke's Garage. Take it to the experts. Take it to Remke's Garage. The shop at Remke's is equipped with state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment and highly trained technicians. Remke's is your Toyo, Sprinter, and Diesel tire headquarters. Visit Remke's Garage, REMKES, garage.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Of course. Jeez, I wish they could do something for your eyesight.
Me too. But you heard what they said. John, can you read this email for me?
Of course. Jeez, I wish they could do something for your eyesight.
Me too. But you heard what they said. There's nothing we can do.
When vision loss can't be corrected with glasses or surgery, and hope seems lost, turn to Spectrios Institute for Low Vision. Spectrios doctors specialize in the treatment of vision loss related to eye diseases, such as macular degeneration, glaucoma, and diabetic retinopathy. There is hope, supported by science with personalized rehabilitation plans, occupational therapies, and access technology at Spectrios. Talk to a patient service manager. They'll walk you through the program. Spectrios takes BCBS and Medicare insurance. They also have grants for qualifying patients and offer a Seeing is Believing children's outreach program. Go to spectrios.org, located in Wheaton in a building that says it all, the House of Hope. That's SPECTRIOS.org. Spectrios Institute, the head, heart, and eyes approach to better vision. Remember to keep Spectrios Institute, a 501c, in your estate or legacy planning.
Support our police and hire the police to personally protect you. You've watched the news. Rising crime has been affecting our everyday lives in Illinois more and more these days. Blue Star Security can protect you, your business, or your place of worship. Blue Star Security is the only security company in Chicago with over 900 off-duty police officers, all W-2 employees.
I'm Anthony Varchetto, president of Blue Star Security and a 20-year law enforcement veteran. The Blue Star team is made up of over 900 state-certified active and retired law enforcement professionals. We serve businesses and private organizations with supply chain and special event security, and also protect our loved ones at places of worship and schools all across the Chicagoland area. Blue Star Security's technology allows mobilization of off-duty officers quickly and efficiently. Our primary mission is to provide unparalleled protective services for each assignment with integrity, while maintaining our commitment to community service in the Chicagoland area.
Visit online to schedule a free security consultation at BlueStarSecurityLLC.com. That's BlueStarSecurityLLC.com.
This is Sean Thompson. When you go on vacation, does it make sense to have somebody else pack for you? Of course not. The same can be said for your retirement. Your 401k could be packed with things you don't know about or even need. If you're close to retirement, but you don't have a plan customized to your goals, it's like kind of taking a 30-year vacation with no idea what's in the suitcase. Sounds like a stressful way to begin what should be a relaxing time. Tom Fortino at Alpha Wealth Group can help you unpack your savings and build a plan to reduce future taxes, address Social Security and health care, and a whole lot more, all with a clear, defined income strategy. Call the Alpha Wealth Group at 630-934-1855. Ask for the complimentary retirement plan. That's 630-934-1855 or online at alphawealthgroup.com. And listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. right here on AM 560.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Dell Technologies and Intel are pushing what technology can do. Bring your ideas to life at Dell.com.
7:39, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. What if you could save on average 90% for dental implants and get 100% of your smile back? With the Blue Cross Blue Shield, PPO, or FEP, it's possible. Check if you qualify at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Accident Southside, 59th and Damon. Waukegan an accident, Lewis and York House Road. Bartlett an accident, Southwind and Bartlett Road. Delays in Beach Park this morning as police clear an accident from Wadsworth Road right at Sheridan. Reagan I-88 eastbound jamming up right at Cermak. Delays on the Tri-State due to an overturned vehicle. 2 right lanes are blocked on the southbound side between Atkinson Road to right before Everett Road, the site of the accident. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. We'll see hazy sunshine and warmer conditions today. High 81, clear and 58 overnight. Partly cloudy and 57. Your next news update is at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Senator John Kennedy, in a recent interview, had he's one known for a turn of a phrase. This is one of his better ones. This is P.G. O'Rourke quality here.
It turns, you see the worst in people, I know many people in Washington, D.C. that would they would unplug your life support to charge their cell phone.
Unplug your life support to charge your cell phone.
Yeah.
That's the swamp. And, yeah, right. So you have the worst in people and the worst people. Right. We've started to notice, at least many of us, this is an important note, just the news reported. A watchdog group entitled Protect the Public's Trust is sounding a siren that the Biden administration plans to make it very difficult for Trump to drain the swamp were he to be elected. The director of this watchdog organization said some of the appointees, Biden appointees, may receive special career civil service protections before Trump would start a second term if he wins, hamstringing his ability to control his own Justice Department or to Trump-proof the federal government. Without getting into the particulars, I mean, this is something that is central to a second term. Even if Republicans don't have control of both chambers, even if they didn't have control of either chamber. It seems to me the most pressing demand in a second term for Trump, where the left is just going to attempt to wait him out, is going to attempt to use lawfare to block whatever moves that he attempts to make. It seems to me that he needs to spend the preponderance of his time taking apart the administrative state. If he doesn't replace the first 2 levels of every cabinet agency and riff, another 20, 30, 40, 50% of these agencies, if he doesn't really focus his energies and his political power on
reducing the size and scope of the administrative state, including law enforcement and spy agencies, then all this will have been for naught. So this is a sort of a below the fold amid all the quality of life issues that are on the ballot. But this is so important because it directly relates to all of those quality of life issues, because the deterioration in Americans' quality of life and the expanse of our constitutionally guaranteed freedoms, I mean, this is the real problem. It's Leviathan. And maybe this is something Trump should discuss at tomorrow night's debate. For more on this and other matters, please be joined by John Hindraker, president of the Center for the American Experiment and contributor to PowerlineBlog.com. John, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, great to be with you, Dan.
Well, so you've heard what I think would be central to a Trump second term, and I don't want to get over my skis here, but thinking about that as a topic of conversation that may not be as anticipated as some of the other ones tomorrow night.
Well, it certainly deserves to be. This is a long-standing problem, Dan. A Republican can get elected president, but that doesn't mean that he can actually direct the executive branch. He appoints, the top 2 levels, top 3 levels, and the rest is civil service, and the rest in most agencies is probably 90 or 95% Democrat. So a Republican president is always dealing with passive resistance and with active efforts to undermine his policies. And to be effective, a Republican president has got to figure out a way to deal with that.
And on the other side, Richard Grenell, former Trump administration veteran, tweeted out over the weekend, Arab American leaders in Detroit have been told by the Kamala campaign that Keith Ellison is on the short list to be attorney general should she win. What would AG Keith Ellison mean, since you hail from the state in which he's the current attorney general, John?
Well, it's almost impossible to believe, Dan. Ellison himself has denounced that as a false rumor, which is, he says, is with the intent of stirring up hatred of Muslims, right?
Of course, right.
Of course. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully it won't come to that, because Kamala will lose. Ellison is a hardcore left-wing radical who, among other things, has endorsed the riots and the political violence carried out by Antifa. So here's a guy, he's the attorney general of a state, and he's come out in favor of political violence.
What bystander at the Feeding Our Future scandal? Can you tell us about that?
Well, sure. You could say that about the entire Tim Walz administration. I mean, this deserves a lot more publicity. The Feeding Our Future scandal, somewhere between $250 million and $500 million, was stolen from the taxpayers by fraudsters here in Minnesota. It's the biggest single COVID-era fraud that has been uncovered, and it was a blatant fraud. These people put in for reimbursement for ostensibly feeding free meals to hundreds of thousands of needy children who were non-existent. Their children didn't exist. And the Walz administration, including Keith Ellison, the Attorney General, just sat on it and watched it happen, even after it came to light that this was going on. And then they tried to blame everybody else under the sun, when in fact it was their malfeasance.
Speaking of Field Marshal Tim, you reported over at PowerlineBlog.com yet another instance of apparent fabulism on behalf of Tim Walz's, on behalf of Tim Walz, from Tim Walz. So in addition to his military service, in addition to his vaunted coaching career, he misrepresented his academic credentials.
Yeah, for something like 11 years, he kept saying and putting in writing on his congressional bio and so forth that he was just on the verge of obtaining his Ph.D. in education, the same Ph.D., I think, by the way, that Dr. Jill Biden has. And in fact, he never took any coursework or did anything to pursue that alleged degree subsequent to, 2004 or something like that. And the school that he had attended briefly confirmed that, no, it's been 20 years since he actually did any coursework here. So he's now quietly deleted that claim from his bio.
So give us a profile on this guy. I mean, since you know him better than most, I mean, and just these instances of exaggeration, fabulism. I mean, we're used to it with Biden, to some extent Harris too. But I mean, Walz just seems like he's sort of this big dumb lummox who hasn't really done much with his life, managed to get elected by buffaloing some rural voters in Minnesota and work his way up, and now he's just sort of lying about a life he hasn't led.
Yeah, that's basically true. And sometimes the lies are positive, like claiming credit for a military career that's far beyond what he actually did. Sometimes they're in self-defense. He lies continually about the drunk driving conviction that he had back when he was living in Nebraska, still lies about it. So, yeah, Tim Walz is an interesting case. I mean, the man can't open his mouth, really, without telling a lie. But beyond that, he is a really hardcore, bitter partisan. He is on the far left wing of the Democratic Party, and you see it all the time. I mean, there is no left-wing policy that Tim Walz does not endorse.
Well, do people in Minnesota like him? You know,
they elected
excited
him.
about that?
Well, they keep electing Democrats, Amy. I mean, it's so interesting. Republicans haven't won a statewide race in Minnesota since 2006, right? And the reason for that is that the Democrats have got a machine, a ballot-producing machine in Hennepin County that turns out so many votes, or so many ballots anyway, that it just swamps rural Minnesota, where Walz is deeply unpopular. His margin of victory in 2022 was cut about in half compared to his margin of victory in 2018. So it's not like he is exceptionally popular with the voters in Minnesota. He isn't. But in recent years, if you're running statewide and you can run up the vote in Hennepin County and you've got a D by your name, you're in good shape.
What's your expectation for tomorrow's debate and your hope in terms of what would be the best outcome for Trump?
Well, my expectations are pretty low, to be honest, Dan. I mean, Kamala Harris's mission is to perform better than Joe Biden did in June. That's a very low bar. It means she's got to remain standing for an hour and a half. She needs to keep her words flowing and not zone out like Biden did. And if possible, try not to laugh. And if she does those things, her supporters will be happy and the press will report that she was brilliant. On Trump's side, he needs to continually be talking about his winning issues. He needs to talk about the border, the cost of living, crime, and he can't let the moderators, they're going to try to drag him off onto every other issue under the sun. They probably will want to spend half the debate talking about abortion, And Trump has just got to take every opportunity to get back to those winning issues.
John Hindraker, President and Center of the American Experiment, contributor to PowerlineBlog.com as well. John, thank you as always.
Great to be with you, Dan.
Take care. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. Last week, Kamala Harris met the press for the first time since being anointed her party's nominee. If you can call a gentle 18-minute, heavily edited interview with her running mate actually meeting the press. It's clear why Harris is so reluctant to take questions from the media. She isn't good at thinking on her feet and has a tenuous grasp of policy. She's deeply insecure and lacks self-confidence. But when Harris won't talk to the press, she's not just disrespecting them. She's disrespecting us. Kamala Harris owes Americans a straightforward explanation of her views and why she's changed them. We're entitled to know where she wants to lead our country and why. The press is on Harris's side. She may figure she can get away with hiding. But if she keeps doing it, Americans are right to conclude it's because she's got something to hide. I'm Carol Platt-Liebau.
Having chronic pain is no fun, not arthritic pain in your knees, hips, back, or shoulder, or if you have pain in your knees, hip, back, or shoulder because of an injury, check out QC Kinetics. Call now to get lasting joint pain relief with help from QC Kinetics. Call for a free consultation. Just call them. Make the appointment. Again, it's free. They'll walk you through the process, tell you how it works. It's fascinating. They have clinics all around the Chicago area, including Gurnee and in Crystal Lake. Saturday appointments available. The number to call is 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
AM 560.
The Answer.
Diana and Amy, I think Hindraker's one of the issues that animate the sentimental barbarians, and it's more than just these suburban awfuls. Maybe Trump should take a page out of Bill Burr's book when it comes to addressing abortion. He doesn't talk like a policy wonk. Sometimes he talks more like a stand-up comedian. But you can be funny with a point like Bill Burr was when he tackled abortion, a man of the left, Bill Burr.
Because I don't like people telling me what to do. And I always just like, it's your body. Who the am I to tell you what to do with your body? So that always made sense. All right? However, I still think you're killing a baby. See? That's where it gets weird. Like, I sit on the fence and the whole thing makes sense to me. Whatever anybody's saying, like, don't tell you what to do. It's my body, my choice. That's right, man. She's right. Leave it the hell alone. Oh, you're killing a baby. Well, I mean, there is that. If we're going to be honest, that is the whole purpose of the procedure. You're not going in there because you got an earache. You're going in there because you're like, I got a baby in me. Get the out of here. Right? You walk in with a baby. You come out without one. What happened to the baby, right? Something happened. So, pro-choice people are like, well, it's not a life yet. It's not a baby yet. If you do, I don't know what they say. Before you do the first Thursday or the last Tuesday, you spin around one time. They dance between the raindrops. It's not a baby yet. That's what they say, which may or may not be true. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but I'll tell you, my gut tells me that doesn't make sense. It's not a baby yet. That would be like if I was making a cake and I poured some batter in a pan and I put it in the oven, and then 5 minutes later you came by and you grabbed the pan, you threw it across the floor, and I went, what the f***, you just ruined my birthday cake? And then you were like, well, that wasn't a cake yet. It's like, well, it would have been. If you didn't do what you just did, there would have been a cake in 50 minutes. Something happened to that cake, you cake murdering son of a bitch.
I love it. It's great. Because it's true. And not Bill Burr's conclusion about it. I don't know how you take the position that, yes, it's killing a child, but I'm indifferent to it. But Bill Burr wants to have it both ways. He's a comedian. I'm not supposed to take him seriously from policy prescription perspective. But that's right. But this is this is an example of what we talked about earlier in the show. How far some people can get being fake nice and telling beautiful lies, and how many people will only support people who are fake nice and tell beautiful lies just like they do, because who wants to confront the ugly, gruesome truth of what is happening with your assent? Not a lot of people. That's sort of the magic that the left has figured out, that the new Bolsheviks have figured out. And we'll see if Trump can dispel some of that magic tomorrow night.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, I'm so excited.
Okay. It's bizarre. Starstruck. Matt
I
Walsh.
am. Okay.
Matinee idol Matt Walsh, host of the Matt Walsh Show, of course, of Daily Wire, creator of the film What is a Woman?
Loved it.
He's got a new one out, Am I Racist? Sort of in the same vein, and we'll talk to him about that film at 8:08.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
A reward offered in the deadly shooting of a grandmother on Chicago's southwest side. An ex-AT&T boss has a trial beginning tomorrow. CPD is searching for a CTA stabbing suspect, a convicted California serial 93 murder. Bears rally to beat the Titans in the opener. Cubs take down the Yankees. And the White Sox salvage their series finale in Boston. WIND Chicago News Time.
She's ready. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what Vice President Harris told reporters in Pittsburgh, where she's been preparing for her first debate with former President Trump on ABC tomorrow night, reportedly using a Trump impersonator in mock debates.
Now, we asked the Trump campaign how he was preparing, and Aide responded, "What's debate prep?" The New York Times released a poll yesterday showing Trump with a nearly 2-point national lead over Harris, though within the margin of error. The poll shows Harris can still define herself to more than a quarter of voters. 28% of likely voters say they still need to learn more about the vice president. Views of Trump have been locked in for a while. Less than 10% say the same of the former president.
Fox's Rich Edson at the White House. Nikki Haley, who ran against the former president in the Republican primaries, has endorsed Trump and just told Fox she's on standby if he wants her help in messaging.
When you call even a Democrat woman dumb, Republican women get their backs up too. The bottom line is we win on policies. Stick to the policies, leave all the other stuff.
Now, one potential debate topic is Afghanistan. House Republicans say the vice president shares the blame in the chaotic U.S. troop withdrawal from Afghanistan in a new report alleging
the Biden-Harris administration prioritized the optics of withdrawal over the security of U.S. personnel on the ground. The Biden-Harris administration's failure to prepare for civilian evacuations exposed the Defense and State Departments to lethal threats and emotional harm. Now, included in that exit was a brutal bomb attack near the Kabul airport, which left 13 U.S. service members dead.
That's Fox's Greg Palcott. The State Department and House Democrats are dismissing the GOP report as partisan politics. It's day 3 of a manhunt in Kentucky for Joseph Couch, the accused gunman in Saturday's highway shooting that left cars with blown-out windows and bullet holes and 5 people wounded and another 2 injured in a car wreck.
We do know this guy is armed.
Laurel County Sheriff John Root.
That's why, he could be sitting. And, we're not going to be sitting ducks.
So schools cancel classes in the area. America's listening to Fox News.
57 degrees. It's 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Here are the stories we're following on WIND Chicago. A trial begins tomorrow for the former AT&T Illinois president accused of trying to bribe ex-Illinois House Speaker, Democrat Michael Madigan. Paul Sciazza was indicted in October of 2022, planning to win Madigan's backing of legislation in Springfield. It is the last of a series of trials to play out before Madigan faces his own trial next month. Bears rally from a 17-3 halftime deficit to beat the Titans in their season opener at Soldier Field 24-17. Top pick from the 2024 NFL Draft, Caleb Williams, just 14 of 29 for 93 yards.
A few passes that may have been dropped, may have been missed. I think it was just miscues. But speedy game-wise, it didn't. I would say affect or change much.
Chicago special teams and defense dominate the second half. They visit Houston in week 2. In other news, we're following a reward being offered in the shooting of a grandmother on Chicago's southwest side. Andrea Monique King was sitting in her car at the end of August 31, along Ogden Avenue when she was shot. And a convicted serial killer on death row in California is back in Illinois after being charged in the murder of a Glenview teen in 1993. Michael Garcia, 18-year-old, was found stabbed to death in Glenview in 1993. Cubs avoid being swept by the Yankees with a 2-1 win, while the White Sox beat the Red Sox 7-2. The news, a service of the AM 560 store. T-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Proft University. 8:04, Time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. And now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Apple is betting on artificial intelligence to boost iPhone sales. Its new iPhone event is today. The new AI system is compatible with its iPhone 15 Pro and other new iPhone 16 models that are about to hit the market. Shares of Palantir Technologies, Dell, and insurer Erie Indemnity are all higher after it was announced all three will be joining the S&P 500 before trading on September 23rd. The three companies leaving the S&P are American Airlines, Etsy, and Bio-Rad Laboratories. Boeing shares are gaining after its tentative agreement with the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers. If ratified, it will avoid a strike at key Washington facilities for Boeing. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Coselda, invested in you.
8:05, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Larry Elder sees the White House using a tragedy.
The president put out a statement. Ending this gun violence epidemic is personal to me. That's why I signed into law the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the most meaningful gun safety bill in decades. He took the occasion to immediately push for more gun control without knowing any real information about how the shooter got the gun.
The Larry Elder Show, weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. My father was a union iron worker, just like his father, but while he inherited his father's skill, he did not inherit his talent. He needed a change, something that was his, something where he could call the shots. So he started a janitorial company. His company cleaned grocery stores and airplane hangars, dentist office and construction sites, hardware stores and restaurants. As his business expanded, so did the complexity of managing it, especially the taxes. Preparing tax returns requires records, and Dad just never got accustomed to keeping good records. That was a mistake. It cost him his business. Initially, I followed my father and grandfather and became a union iron worker, third generation. I'm very proud of that legacy. Now I'm a tax attorney. I help business owners protect what they've built. Fighting back against the IRS is personal to me. If you own a business and have tax troubles, fight back. Go to fightbacknow.com. That's fightbacknow.com or call 312-664-6649. Become a freedom fighter today.
Protecting and growing your retirement assets can be complicated. From asset and legacy protection to retirement income and extended care, you need a plan. Mark Kohler, host of Retirement and Income Radio, heard Sundays at 11 a.m., helps retirees in or near retirement protect their accounts from market volatility. Mark can help you create lifetime guaranteed, inflation-hedged income. Call Mark today at 844-619-SAFE. That's 844-619-7233. And listen this Sunday at 11 a.m. to Retirement and Income Radio.
I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. My father was a union iron worker, just like his father, but while he inherited his father's skill, he did not inherit his tolerance for taking orders from union bosses. He needed a change, something that was his, something where he could call the shots. So he started a janitorial company. His company cleaned grocery stores and airplane hangars, dentist office and construction sites, hardware stores and restaurants. As his business expanded, so did the complexity of managing it, especially the taxes. Preparing tax returns requires records, and Dad just never got accustomed to keeping good records. That was a mistake. It cost him his business. Initially, I followed my father and grandfather and became a union iron worker, third generation. I'm very proud of that legacy. Now I'm a tax attorney. I help business owners protect what they've built. Fighting back against the IRS is personal to me. If you own a business and have tax troubles, fight back. Go to fightbacknow.com. That's fightbacknow.com or call 312-664-6649. Become a freedom fighter today.
For anyone living with everyday aches and pains, there's a lot of things you can try. You know, tough it out, bite the bullet, grin and bear it. Or you can try something that has helped so many other people, Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that addresses the inflammation where pain starts. And Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain for a short time. It helps reduce or even eliminate it all day, every day. Wherever you're hurting, your back, neck, joints, or muscles, in about 3 weeks or less, you'll see a difference and rediscover what it's like to feel better and live better. So if everyday pain is affecting your life, don't go with the mind over matter approach. Try Relief Factor instead. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor.
8:09, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. A hefty 50 minutes on the inbound Edens commute, Lake Cook Road into the junction. You hit the brakes solid on the Kennedy inbound right at Harlem Avenue. You've got an accident on the exit ramp to Damon in 90 minutes from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike inbound, 95 minutes, 390 to the old post office. Dan Ryan right now, jam solid inbound in the locals between Garfield and the Circle, 36 from 95th. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
A little bit warmer, some heat. Sunny for tomorrow, the high 86. Sunny warmer on Wednesday, the high 88. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
57 at O'Hare, 57 Midway, 48 in Aurora. And your next news update is at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Matt Walsh is the producer of the film What is a Woman, which was a great mockumentary. I mean, it's actually some really interesting conversations that were not spoofs. It wasn't Spinal Tap, but I mean, it's just, my favorite was when he's talking to an African tribe and he's telling them about sort of American culture and they're just laughing hysterically.
That was good.
Anyway, building on the success of What is a Woman, he has now got a new film that premieres September 13th in theaters. Am I a Racist? Here's a little piece of the trailer.
Let's be clear what's happening in this country. It's Nazism. Republicans are Nazis. You cannot separate yourselves from the bad white people.
Growing up in the 90s, I never thought much about race. Sure, you noticed, but never really seemed to matter that much, at least not to me.
Being a white, straight, cisgender man is the top of the pile.
I'm on the top of the pile. That's me. Am I racist?
I would really appreciate it if you left.
I'm trying to learn.
Matt Walsh, host of The Matt Walsh Show at dailywire.com. Again, the film Am I Racist? September 13th, it premieres. Matt, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me.
One of the things, just not to give too much away, but one of the things that's remarkable to me, just watching the trailer, is people that have some profile, like Robin DiAngelo, the author of White Fragility, who do sort of no background checking, are so happy to sit down and interview you, and you're essentially mocking her to her face, and they don't realize it. It shows sort of the thickness of the bubbles on the left.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I get this question a lot. Obviously, is how do we manage to get in the room with these people? And in this, in the first film, What is a Woman, it's kind of the same thing. But in this film in particular, we get into some places that you wouldn't think would welcome me in particular, or people that you wouldn't think would want to sit down. And how did we get them to do that? And the answer is that is exactly what you just said. I think that they live in kind of a bubble where they're never challenged. And I think the possibility that they might be in a room with someone who doesn't already agree with them on everything is kind of unthinkable to them. And then also, they're in it for the money. And one thing we do in the film is anytime we have someone like Robin DiAngelo appear, we put up on the screen how much we paid her to appear in the film, because to us, that's part of the story, is that these people are in it for the money. And if you pay them, they're willing to overlook a lot of stuff. And maybe they regret that now. I don't know, but we'll see.
Oh, that's interesting. The mercenary piece of it too. No, that's very expository. And so somebody who watches this, what's the desired takeaway?
there's kind of a lot that you could take from it, but I guess like the basic point here is that the so-called anti-racist industry, the DEI industry, and it goes under different names, and I'm sure they'll stop using the phrase DEI soon enough. But all of that, it's a scam. It's a big grift, and they are interested. Those people are interested in maintaining racial divisions, resentment, suspicion. That's what they want, because they profit off of it. There's a lot of influence and power to be gained from it. And if those people were to shut up and go away and kind of leave normal Americans to their own devices, we wouldn't end up in any kind of racial utopia, because that's just not possible. But I think things would be basically okay. Like, most people wouldn't care that much. They wouldn't be focused on racism. It wouldn't be a big part of most people's lives if these grifters would just shut up and leave them alone, which they won't, because again, there's money and power for them.
So what happens when they realize it's you?
Well, there's only one scene in the film where they realize while the cameras are on that it's me, and they responded by kicking me out of the room and calling the police. So that's what happens. But for most of these interactions we had, they didn't. We left and they thought everything was fine, and they probably started to realize what was going on when the trailer came out, I guess.
It's amazing that it only
now
takes
are they reaching out?
It only takes a man bun to fool these people. The theatrical distribution, how difficult was that to get?
Actually, it was not as difficult as you might expect. We were expecting potentially some pushback on that, but we found that the theaters were very willing to take the movie, and I'd like to say it's because it's a good movie, it's an entertaining movie, and the theaters want people to come and watch movies. They want to make money off of the movies. Actually, the only real kind of problem we ran into, the real obstacle was not so much the subject of the film as we thought it would be, but just the fact that the movie is still technically a documentary, and so at first the theaters said, well, look, people don't show up to watch documentaries in theaters, so we'll give you a few screens, but you're gonna have to prove that there's interest in this film, and we'll expand it. And over the last few weeks, the interest has been enormous, and we've sold a lot of tickets pre-sale, and they've expanded the release of the film, exponentially. So it's been great.
Excellent. Matt Walsh is the host of the Matt Walsh Show at DailyWire.com. He is the producer of the film What is a Woman, and his new film premieres September 13th, at theater near you. Am I Racist? Check it out. Am I Racist? Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh, thanks so much.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Good luck with the film. And he joined us on our turnkey.
With things you don't know about or even need. If you're close to retirement, but you don't have a plan customized to your goals, it's like kind of taking a 30-year vacation with no idea what's in the suitcase. Sounds like a stressful way to begin what should be a relaxing time. Tom Fortino at Alpha Wealth Group can help you unpack your savings and build a plan to reduce future taxes, address Social Security and health care, and a whole lot more, all with a clear, defined income strategy. Call the Alpha Wealth Group at 630-934-1855. Ask for the complimentary retirement plan. That's 630-934-1855, or online at alphawealthgroup.com. And listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. right here on AM 560.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is Medi-Share. And maybe you've heard switching to Medi-Share to pay for health care can save many families up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for Medi-Share is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. Medi-Share works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. See what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE. 844-41-BIBLE.
Dan Proft here for Willows Academy. You've heard me talk about Willows Academy for years. Willows is an authentically Catholic, all-girls school in Des Plaines that supports traditional values. For nearly 50 years, Willows has partnered with families in the Chicagoland area to educate young women who will change the world. On September 20th, they're hosting prominent author of Awake But Not Woke, Noelle Meering. They've invited our listeners to an exclusive presentation at the school on how your family can react and respond effectively to the woke ideology permeating our society. This inspiring yet practical presentation will describe how we, as parents, can respond and protect our families and provide vital guidance and much-needed leadership to often misguided friends and family members. To RSVP, just visit willowsacademy.org/woke. That's willowsacademy.org/woke. And don't miss author Noelle Meering as she discusses her book, Awake But Not Woke, at Willows Academy in Des Plaines on Friday, September 20th at 6 p.m. willowsacademy.org/woke.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. Last week, Kamala Harris met the press for the first time since being anointed her party's nominee. If you can call a gentle 18-minute, heavily edited interview with her running mate actually meeting the press. It's clear why Harris is so reluctant to take questions from the media. She isn't good at thinking on her feet and has a tenuous grasp of policy. She's deeply insecure and lacks self-confidence. But when Harris won't talk to the press, she's not just disrespecting them. She's disrespecting us. Kamala Harris owes Americans a straightforward explanation of her views and why she's changed them. We're entitled to know where she wants to lead our country and why. The press is on Harris's side. She may figure she can get away with hiding. But if she keeps doing it, Americans are right to conclude it's because she's got something to hide. I'm Carol Platt-Liebau.
AM 560, The Answer.
Felt like we could have talked to Matt Walsh all day. All morning. I know you're rolling your eyes. Good. Okay. Well, I just wanted to ask him, too, about the DNC. He came in character there in Chicago a few weeks ago and kind of was in the background of a photo bomb, so to speak, a CNN interview.
Well, I mean, it speaks to what we know, but I mean, remember this segment of the electorate and the population you're dealing with. I mean, these are people who don't have a brain anymore. They just have political cant where a brain used to be, like science is real and love is love. Signs in their yards and so forth. These are the people that, just speaking on the topic of these race hustlers, that host race to dinner dinners in places like Naperville.
White women are socialized to be nice. And part of that niceness means you don't come to a beautifully prepared dinner table and then leave because something upsets you. So we know they'll stay. So that's why we use the dinner. How many of you at this table think that you're racist?
Welcome to Race to Dinner.
How many of you at this table, you nice white people, would actually happily trade places with a black person in this society?
Disclaimer, the following contains blunt and honest conversations about racism.
We have the hostess prepare a crying room, so when your white lady feelings get hurt, you can go in the room and have at it.
Disclaimer, no white women were harmed in the making of this report.
In 30 seconds, we establish, that you all are racist and that you know the hierarchy. Black at the bottom, white at the top, and the rest of us somewhere in between.
The goal is to have radically honest conversations. I'm old enough to have demonstrated and marched in the 60s, okay? And what I know is, as a society, we don't have honest conversations about race.
During Cyber Rao's unsuccessful run for Congress in 2018, she found her schedule overflowing with coffee dates and campaign events.
At every event, line of white ladies wrapped around the door waiting to talk to me, to tell me not me, not all white women. My platform was anti-racism. Not me, you've got me wrong.
Denver native Regina Jackson worked on Cyber's campaign and thought to consolidate these one-on-one anti-racism discussions into a dinner.
So we did it. We just did one of these dinners, and it was full white women, the Broadway musical. Crying, arms folded, eyes rolled, pacing around the dinner table, and we posted about it on Facebook, and it went viral.
I should have educated them.
The dinners, which continue to grow in popularity, have taken place from Denver to Chicago to Toronto. A white woman chooses to host at her home for a group of 7 friends. The price of the 2-hour dinner, $5,000.
You know why people are worked up about this because white people think that them doing this work is charity and we should be paying them. So even a penny would be too much.
Thank you.
Race to Dinner's message can now be consumed through a New York Times bestseller and a documentary.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Want me to sign your book?
All geared for white women who acknowledge their unchecked biases and are looking to purge the Karen inside of them.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting, too. I mean, the frauds that are being exposed, obviously Black Lives Matter went down under the weight of Patrisse Cullors spending all that corporate extortion money she received on homes. Robin DiAngelo, one of the subjects in Matt Walsh's Am I Racist film, is under fire for, with respect to accusations of plagiarizing black academics for her screed, white fragility. Ibram Kendi has had all kinds of How to Be an Anti-Racist, the author of that. He got this sort of adjunct institution at Boston University, this phony academic that he is. And that is beset by financial problems now as they've run through a bunch of money, producing not too much. And there's infighting and criticism of his management of that adjunct institution. So, I mean, these people are frauds and eventually they're found out. But, I mean, it's after they've made a killing. It's decades and decades after they've been propped up by the honky media like you see in Chicago with, say, a Jesse Jackson family. Particularly senior, but the entire family, race hustlers, disgusting race hustlers who've worsened race relations. As Matt Walsh said, if it wasn't for these race hustlers, we'd be a lot farther along. We'd be a lot less race obsessed, and frankly, our culture would reflect our reality, which is most people get along just fine with people of different races, and it's a non-event. These people have to whip it up into an event, $5,000 to have two black women, or I don't know if they're both black, but whatever, two women of color come to your home, you gather your friends around, and they berate you for being racist, and you give them $5,000. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. How identitarian addled you have to be to participate in a ritual, self-flagellating experience like that.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, and you could text us on that very same line.
And I know people think, oh, people are sick of it, and these frauds are being exposed, and corporations are walking away from DEI and human rights campaign scoring, thanks to, basically like the Robbie Starbucks of the world and so forth, putting pressure on them, exposing them for being complicit with these frauds, these identitarian frauds. But it's not going to happen fast. It's very much like being a COVIDian. Think of it that way. Mass psychosis, mass delusion, and one-by-one deprogramming. So you may see examples of it, but I wouldn't extrapolate too far beyond the individual or the institution that is walking away from participating in these delusions. Kevin, Austin, Texas, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. Since moving down to Austin, Texas, back in October 2005, I realized what a different culture Chicagoland media market is. It's a different world. And so a lot of these people just inside their bubble, they have no idea. I had a friend who said they were somewhere and listening, said, oh, wouldn't it be wonderful if Harris and Walsh One will have them for the next 8 years, then Walsh for the next 8 years after that. They live in a different reality. And it's also, they feel guilty because maybe when they were younger in the 70s, maybe they were a little bit racist or whatever. And now they're paying for it because they're successful. The white liberal guilt is unbelievable. So anyhow, it's a different culture. It's a different media market. They have no concept.
Thanks for the call. Those people aren't reachable, though. The race to dinner people aren't reachable. No. You know who's reachable? The people who are reachable are the people that are living like they're in the Soviet Union. They're living different lives privately and publicly. Their life privately as they recognize reality. Their life publicly as they go along with the people who are being fake nice and perpetuating beautiful lies. So let me give you an example. This is an important one, actually. It just came to light over the weekend. This is the chief spokesman for the U.S. Attorney, the Office of the U.S. Attorney in Manhattan, Nicholas Biasi. And he was caught sort of James O'Keefe style by somebody in the employ of Steven Crowder, I guess, the blogger. YouTuber, whatever. This was Nicholas Biasi, the spokesman for the U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan, talking about the Alvin Bragg prosecution of Trump.
Actual felonies? Because I was pretty sure that
he was stacking charges and rearranging things just to make it fit a case. No, to be honest with you, I think the case is nonsense. Every real estate person in New York does what he did. Nobody's ever been charged with this.
It's hard to hear it all because, of course, it was at a restaurant, but you probably heard part of it anyway. He's stacking charges, rearranging facts. Honestly, I think this case is nonsense, is what Biasi said. He went on to say that
So does everybody else.
that everyone in real estate in New York does the same thing Trump did, stacking charges against Trump and rearranging things just to make it fit a case. The case is nonsense. He wants to be he wants to be something, a mayor. I'm not sure what he wants to be, but I know he's not happy just being a DA of New York County. Before he decided to prosecute Trump, you know who he was. Did you know who he was? ? Well, you do now. So there's the honesty that you get privately that you would never get publicly from somebody like Nicholas Biasi. That's what I'm talking about. He's reachable.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Greg and LaGrange is coming up. Go ahead, Greg.
Hi, Greg.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Good.
I think this whole thing, people that believe that the kindness and the niceties and the smile and the warm feelings that these two people running on the opposite party bring are completely delusional. It's almost as if they're disconnected from reality to such an extent that I wonder how they can function every day. These people that are running, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, would destroy this country in a manner that would never be approachable in a generation to correct. I just talked to somebody at the health club today that just doesn't see a problem with the city. I go, how can't you see a problem with the city?
Beautiful lies.
It's a mess.
Beautiful lies and fake nights. How about those Bears, Greg? How did you see the Bears one yesterday? How about those Bears?
Caleb Williams, how did he
How about that? How about those Cubs? They're making a late playoff run. How about those Cubs?
Right. It's just this. It's almost as if they don't want to face reality. It's almost as if you have to walk them around the concentration camp like Eisenhower did to the German people for them to realize how bad things are.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. All right, coming up at 8:38, we'll turn our attention to matters geopolitical, including the situation in the Middle East with Cliff May, president of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies.
But now let's head into that newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Sunshine and 57 degrees at 8:32. Authorities have recovered a rifle, but are still looking for the suspect in Saturday's highway shootings in Kentucky.
Don't drive up in there looking to see what you can see. Stay home. Stay away from that area.
Investigators have identified 32-year-old Joseph Couch as the person they believe opened fire on a stretch in rural Kentucky of I-75. Tomorrow night marks the first time and possibly the only time Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump will meet in person debating on ABC News. Trump 2024 National Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
He doesn't need traditional debate prep. He's proven to be one of the most effective debaters in modern political history. Just look at how he knocked off Joe Biden out of the race and the CNN debate stage. He is very well read on Kamala Harris's record.
The debate begins at 8 p.m. Central Time. Federal trial gets underway in Memphis today for 3 former Memphis police officers in the 2023 beating of Tyree Nichols. 2 other former police officers accepted plea deals. Trial begins tomorrow for the former AT&T Illinois president accused of trying to bribe ex-Illinois House Speaker Democrat Michael Madigan. It's the last in a series of trials to play out before Madigan faces his own racketeering trial next month. Chicago aldermen and women will meet today. They'll debate the highly successful ShotSpotter contract. The policing technology has a contract with the city that's about to expire. The contract extension is set to expire on September 22. Mayor Brandon Johnson and many aldermen disagree over whether the city should keep using the gunshot detection technology. Bears over the Titans 24-17 at Soldier Field, while the Cubs beat the Yankees 2-1 at Wrigley, and the White Sox winners at Fenway, beating the Red Sox 7-2. The news, a service of the Byrna Less Lethal Launcher. Just like your spare tire, the Byrna Less Lethal Launcher is a must-have for protection and peace of mind when you're on the road. Never feel unprotected again. Byrna is legal in all 50 states, no background checks or permits required, and it's shipped right to your door. Visit Byrna.com, BYRNA.com. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Join John Anthony, host of Black and White, for a cruise on Lake Michigan on Saturday, September 21st. Come aboard the luxury yacht Free Spirit for a fun afternoon with fellow AM 560 listeners. Enjoy great food and beverages and be a part of the live broadcast of Black and White with John Anthony. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cruise. That's 560theanswer.com/cruise. Sponsored in part by Opum Tax Advocates and attorney Stephen A. Leahy.
Attention, anyone with high blood pressure.
If you want to seriously control your blood pressure and not be a walking time bomb,
Order 120 Life today.
120 Life is an amazing blend of superfruit juices that can actually help lower your blood pressure. It's been endorsed by thousands of health professionals and doesn't have the side effects of medication.
With ingredients that have shown to naturally help control blood pressure, 120 Life could be the natural game changer in your life.
Try it for yourself, risk-free, with a 2-week trial pack.
Go to 120life.com and use coupon code 560 to save 15% and get free shipping.
120 Life is so sure it can noticeably lower your blood pressure in just 2 weeks, they'll give you your money back if you're not satisfied.
Order the 8-ounce drink or powdered mix. From pomegranates to cranberries, it's the delicious way to lower blood pressure.
Go to 120life.com now. Use coupon code 560 to save 15% and get free shipping.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484.
8:37, let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. The Eden still heavy, 44 in Lake Cook Road to the junction. The Kennedy, 90 minutes from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike at right now an hour and 35 from 390 into the old post office. Stevenson outbound, you're jammed up as you approach the ramp to the inbound Dan Ryan. Inbound Dan Ryan itself, 40 minutes, 95th into the Burn Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Hazy sunshine and warmer, high 81. Clear and 58 overnight. 60 at O'Hare, 60 at Midway, 55 in Aurora, and 53 in Morris. Your next news update is at 9, and Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Last week at a press briefing, Benjamin Netanyahu set CNN's Jeremy Diamond straight on a number of topics, including the war in Gaza, civilian deaths, and the campaign to eradicate Hamas, the terrorist organization Hamas. That, Sun Times columnist Neil Steinberg would rather eradicate Bibi Netanyahu than Hamas. Incredible.
More than 40,000 Palestinians have now been killed in Gaza, a majority of whom are civilians. And these numbers are from the Palestinian Ministry of Health, but they are backed up by the United States, by international organizations. Humanitarian conditions in Gaza have degraded so much that diseases like polio and hepatitis A are now spreading. We have seen countless children be orphaned. We have seen countless mothers lose their children. How much is too much, sir? At what point is it time to end this war?
Well, we'll end the war when we achieve our war goals of making sure that Hamas can't repeat such atrocities. But we're fighting this war in a just war with just means. In fact, with means that no other army has ever fought. No other army has taken the precautions that Israel has taken, sometimes at great risk, to make sure that we minimize the number of casualties. You talked about polio. We enabled now massive vaccination of polio. We want 90% of the Gazan people of Gaza vaccinated. I think 200,000 I think were vaccinated today. We put in 1 million tons of food, 1 million tons of aid, 700,000 tons of food. That's unheard of. We've taken, because we think that every civilian death is a tragedy. For Hamas, every civilian death is a strategy. For us, it's a tragedy. There are 1.4 million people in Gaza. They moved from the north to the south. You're going to have thousands, 20,000 killed. You're going to have a catastrophe, a humanitarian catastrophe. They have no place to go, no food to eat. Now report honestly, because here's what happened. They all left. They went to the humanitarian zone, which is 2 miles away, less, on the beach. They have tents. We supplied tents for 150,000 people. The aid agencies supplied the rest, and some of them carried their own tents. They have a place. We supplied water lines, sewage lines, food. There's more to be done, medical. So now we know how many people were killed, how many terrorists, because we counted them. And we just passed 2,000. Terrorists, body counts of terrorists. The people left. How many civilians died? I asked the commander of the division that did the Rafah operation and the Philadelphia corridor. He said, Prime Minister, there are hardly any civilian deaths because everybody left. They heeded our warnings. But he said there were probably 24, and most of them occurred, 24, and most of them occurred when one of our bombs hit a Hamas ammunition depot that was planted inside a residential area. 40 people died, about 20 were terrorists, but 20 were civilians. And he said that's most of the deaths. That's the lowest ratio of non-combatants to combatants in the history of urban warfare. That's it. Now report honestly.
Reporting honestly is not CNN's business model, but the other matter, too, is of those civilian deaths, you get into the business of how many were true civilians and how many were collaborators with Hamas. Remember, Hamas had control of the government in Gaza, such as it was, by popular support. For more on this and other geopolitical matters, Cliff May, president of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies and foreign affairs columnist for the Washington Times. Cliff, thanks for joining us. Hey, Cliff.
Cliff, are you there?
I'm here. Do you hear me?
Yep, we got you now. Bibi's recitation there, is that square with your understanding of the reality?
It does. I think he articulated it rather well. Bibi manages to do that. That is the situation. It's the only thing I might add to that, and I think it should be obvious, is that this war in Gaza could stop tomorrow or the day after. It could have stopped at any point over the past 11 months. All it would require would be for Hamas to release the civilian hostages it took after its invasion of Israel and the pogrom it staged there, a pogrom that included rapes and the killing of babies and all that. They could have said, we're releasing the hostages, we're putting down our weapons. There was no way that Israel could have continued to fight at that point. But as long as a war is ongoing, it has to do that. Now, we also know, and Bibi referenced this, that the strategy of Hamas is, they're open about this is not my analysis, is to use civilians as what is called human shields. In other words, they want civilians to be killed. One of the ways you know that, there are no bomb shelters for civilians in Gaza. Hamas could have built them. It didn't. Instead, it built huge fortresses underground only for Hamas, for its warriors, for its terrorists, for its weapons, and it left the civilians on top. It built its command and control centers in schools and mosques and in hospitals with the idea that when the Israelis try to destroy these, surely some civilians will be killed, and then the world will blame Israel for that. They won't blame Hamas.
As Bibi,
what's been happening.
Yeah, as Bibi said, civilian deaths, it's a tragedy for us. It's a strategy for them.
Strategy for them.
The head of the National Unity Party, Benny Gantz, saying that if there is no ceasefire reach, which doesn't look likely, the time for action in the north has come. I'm quoting him. We will have to go to war in the north, meaning engage Hezbollah.
Right.
And so the implication of that.
Well, huge implications. The first thing to know is that Hezbollah began sending missiles and rockets into Israel's northern regions on October 8th, the day after the invasion by Hamas in the south, and quite a few weeks before Israel struck back on Hamas. About 80,000 Israelis have had to evacuate their communities in the north. They had to go live somewhere else. They had to give up their businesses, their farms. The bombing and missiles have created forest fires and destroyed farms, all of that. Hezbollah is a very significant military organization. It's essentially the Foreign Legion of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Hezbollah controls Lebanon, even though it's not exactly the government, but as the Foreign Legion, a militia that's stronger than the Lebanese armed forces. It does what it wants, and the Lebanese who say, please don't bring another war upon us, Hezbollah says it's not up to you, it's up to us. The Israelis know they have to do so. The most important point I want to make is that this war going on right now, Israel is fighting the Islamic Republic of Iran, which prefers to use proxies to fight against Israel. It's generally called the Ring of Fire strategy. Hezbollah in the north, Hamas in the south, the Houthis are involved in it, the Shia militias in Syria and Iraq, and various groups, Islamic Jihad and Hamas as well, in the West Bank. It's a multi-front war, and for the most part, the Iranian regime can say, we're not going to get killed too often doing this. We're going to let Arabs and Palestinians and various others die for our goal. And the goal is very clear. The goal is the extermination of Israel and of as many Israelis as possible. It is an openly genocidal goal. And what Israel hasn't done and needs to do is have a real strategy of how it defends itself and then ultimately, I think, defeats the Islamic Republic of Iran. That's not easy to do. It's far away. It's a much larger country than Israel. But as various Israelis have said, and not least Naftali Bennett, who was prime minister at one point, this is Israel's war against an octopus. We keep fighting the tentacles. The head of the octopus rests fairly comfortably back in Tehran.
Well, we are an ally, but of course there's Americans that are still being held hostage. I don't know if you saw that heartbreaking video of Israeli-American Hirsch Goldberg Poland that they released over the weekend. But there seems to be, again, no appetite to try and get the other 6 or possibly 7 Israeli-American hostages that are still being held.
Yes, the U.S. over a very long time has not taken the view Americans are being held hostage. That is intolerable. We will not allow this to persist. What could the U.S. have done? I mean, listen, it'd be nice if we had the intelligence of where they're being held, send in the Delta Force and all of that. But failing that, there's something else, and that is Qatar. The Biden administration made Qatar what they call a major non-NATO ally. Not quite sure why, but they did. In Qatar, who lives? Well, various leaders of Hamas that are not in Gaza. The U.S. could say to Qatar, you have in your country accessories to mass murder. You have people who are accessories to the taking of American hostages, their torture, and their holding. Here's what you have to do. You have to take them from their hotels, and you have to arrest them. You can prosecute them there, or you can send them to the U.S., but we're not going to tolerate that they're out having elaborate dinners in your capital of Doha, and you're doing nothing about it. It's saying, well, we'll have a conversation with them. We'll talk to them. We'll see if they'll be reasonable. Maybe we can get them to make some concessions. I don't know. That is not sufficient. Recently, the Department of Justice indicted some Hamas members, but 3 of them are already dead. And the other ones, I guarantee you, FBI is not coming in with a warrant to the tunnels in Gaza to say, you better lawyer up, guys. It's just not how it works. This is not a law enforcement problem. This is a war. It's a war being fought by our ally Israel against common enemies. The Islamic Republic of Iran, since 1979, when I was there covering the revolution, has been shouting death to America and death to Israel. On death to Israel, I think they're getting closer. On death to America, that's still a long-term aspiration.
Well, what's the likelihood that the next president will have to confront a open and direct war between Israel and Iran and its proxies, but including Tehran, not just its proxies? And how do you anticipate that playing out? Because on the one hand, you have neocons like Lindsey Graham that want to bomb everybody, and on the other hand, you have neocons. I mean, essentially, you have neocons in the Democrat Party spoiling for war in Eastern Europe, but at the same time, who look to Iran as a partner in peace. So, I mean, it's really a complicated domestic political picture when it comes to dealing with an international threat like Iran.
It's a very complex picture. We could talk about it for hours. I would say this: when we have allies willing to fight common enemies, we should give them all the support they need. It's great if we don't have to do the job. As for Iran's developing nuclear weapons capability, presidents, both Republican and Democratic, have said for years, we're not going to allow this regime, which says death to America and has for 40 years, to have these weapons. Did we mean it or did we not? There's 2 ways to deal with it. We can deal with it ourselves, or we can say to the Israelis, you deal with it, or we'll give you a hand. Otherwise, they will have these weapons. And keep in mind that there is now very clearly what I would call an axis of aggressors. Tehran is in very close alignment with Moscow and with Beijing. Tehran sending ballistic missiles to Russia to use against the Ukrainians. And of course, Tehran has various Russian systems, such as the S-300 anti-missile system, to use to defend itself against reprisals from Israel. We need to understand the current situation we're in. It's essentially a new Cold War, far more challenging than the last one, because it's led by the most powerful communist party in history. The People's Republic of China has a navy that's now bigger than ours, that's threatening the Philippines, threatening Taiwan, threatening Japan. We have to understand the situation we're in, and there are things we need to do about it, or we're going to lose. And China will win, along with its junior partners in Moscow, in Tehran, in Caracas, in Havana, in Managua, Nicaragua, and other places. It's a growing, expanding threat matrix that we cannot face down simply by saying, international law frowns on what you're doing.
The Dick Cheney endorsement of Kamala Harris, so says Liz Cheney, so we'll take her word for it. Is there any possibility that this is something that, at least in part, beyond just the personal animus between the Cheneys and the Trumps, that it has to do with the Cheney family's perspective on U.S. interventionism, and they feel like they've got more of a toehold in the Democrat Party with people like Kamala Harris when it comes to far-flung foreign involvement than they would with Trump?
It's very hard for me or for you to read Dick Cheney's mind. Liz Cheney decided fairly early on, she's not alone in this, that Trump was just could not abide Trump, and since she went with the Democrats on that commission, and it wasn't a fair commission, and all the things that happened, including the bogus collusion, Russian collusion accusations, and Mueller's 2-year, $32 million investigation that found absolutely nothing. I'm not sure Dick Cheney wants to go to Thanksgiving with his daughter and have them not be on the same side on these political issues, but who really knows? Look, I understand the people who say I can't vote for Trump. He's too narcissistic or difficult of personality. But I also find it very puzzling for somebody like Cheney to say I'm voting for Kamala Harris, knowing what her views are and have been, knowing the fecklessness of the Biden administration and the problems it's gotten us into. And I would point to, especially from a national security point of view, to the surrender to the Taliban in Afghanistan. A year later, Russia invades Ukraine. 2 years later, Hamas invades Israel. These are not coincidental, comrades.
Cliff May, president of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies and foreign affairs columnist for the Washington Times. Cliff, thank you as always.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Protecting and growing your retirement assets can be complicated. From asset and legacy protection to retirement income and extended care, you need a plan. Mark Kohler, host of Retirement and Income Radio, heard Sundays at 11 a.m., helps retirees in or near retirement protect their accounts from market volatility. Mark can help you create lifetime guaranteed inflation-hedged income. Call Mark today at 844-619-SAFE. That's 844-619-7233. And listen this Sunday at 11 a.m. to Retirement and Income Radio.
Wealth Health Radio. The biggest fears that people have is, do I have enough money to retire?
Retirement doesn't have to be complicated.
To make sure that you're going through retirement with confidence.
Learn principles of income planning.
There's a lot of different facets that you need to take into consideration when you're retiring.
Tune into Wealth Health Radio with Joe Murphy, noon to 1 p.m. Sundays on AM 560. The Answer.
All right. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. After 2 painful years, mortgage rates are finally dropping, and your current lender is going to be hounding you to refinance. Now, according to David Hochberg, if your current lender is Rocket Mortgage, then you need to listen how they treated Cara in Romeoville. Last July, Rocket charged Cara over $10,000 to refinance, which, according to David, is excessive. This past July, they tried charging Cara more than $9,000 to refinance yet again. Now, upon her father's recommendation, they contacted David to review Rocket's offer, and David exposed the mortgage company's game of offering low rates by charging excessive closing costs. Don't do it. Cara canceled her loan, and she'll be refinancing with Team Hochberg when it's in her, not Rocket Mortgage's, financial best interest. If you want to work with a lender who'll always look out for you and your family and your financial best interest, then call Team Hochberg, 855-563-2843, or visit their website at 56david.com. That's 56david.com. The number again, 855-563-2854. or 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061.
From breaking news and weather across the country to insight from the brightest minds in conservative opinion, it's Salem News Channel. Home to the biggest shows on TV, like Dennis Prager, weekdays at noon Eastern, followed by Jay and Jordan Sekulow at 2. Join SNC, where facts are sacred, critical thinking is celebrated, and the pursuit of truth is unwavering. Watch Salem News Channel free now on Xumo Play. Learn more at snc.tv/Xumo. AM 560. The Answer.
You want a fun factoid postscript? NIU's upset of Notre Dame this weekend?
Yeah.
Notre Dame's first coach, Jesse Harper, was from DeKalb. He is the one most responsible for ND's emergence from a backwater school to a national football power. He coached and then hired Knute Rockne. He played at University of Chicago under Amos Alonzo Stagg, who taught him a secret about the rules of football that he used to beat Army in 1913, which really started it all, that you didn't have to just run, you were allowed to pass.
Oh, nice.
How about that?
All right, today it's going to be warm, a high of 81 degrees, 9 a.m. now, WIND, Chicago.
Searching a wooded area around I-75 in Kentucky. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and the manhunt for the accused gunman in Saturday's highway shooting.
More than 150 law enforcement officers are helping in the investigation and searching the area, which police describe as a jungle that they need machetes to cut through.
Fox's Garrett Tenney reports many schools in the area are closed today.
The man they're searching for is 32-year-old Joseph Couch, a 4-year veteran.